A man lies in a cave, writhing in pain. Suddenly, a bear rides up to him on a unicycle. The creature claims that suddenly, a C-rank hunter named Chan Yon-un, he found himself in a very difficult situation, so he asked if he would choose to go into eternal sleep, or he will buy the only elixir capable of restoring his vitality. Mishka asks if he wants to buy this perfect antidote, but the guy remains silent in response. The man thinks how annoying it is, and the bear wonders if he has already fallen into eternal sleep. The guy screams at the state from the bear fucking psycho. It's been 10 years since the system and the awakened first appeared. The number of awakened continue to grow, and now they have entered an era in which the world is overflowing with crazy role players. There is also a princess rabbit and a ghost assassin. And there was another psychopathic player near the main character. Now he's wondering if the guy will buy an instant antidote. Chan Yon-wung asks how much it costs, and the bear replies that the bitter-tasting stuff costs 1,189,000 won, and the sweet strawberry curd with a sweet taste costs almost 2 million won, and first-time buyers receive a discount. The guy screams out what the difference is, after which the bear replies that the nasty stuff is bitter and the sweet syrup is sweet. Chan Yon-won tries to restrain himself and realizes that despite all the nonsense that this bear is talking, his price is really lower than others. After which, he tells the bear to give his account number. He replies that payment is only possible through LookPay, and if he wants to make a purchase, he should sign a contract. Chan Yon-wung picks up the contract and asks, what if he reports him for tax evasion and illegal trading? But the bear replies that if he doesn't need the antidote, he'll leave. After which, the guy grabs him by the leg and screams that he understood, so let the bear give him the bitter syrup. Mishka also claims that if a guy leaves a 5-star review and a photo on Look Market, he will send him an Earth Power candy as a bonus, which will increase his strength by 1 for 5 minutes. After which, the bear wishes the guy good luck and leaves. Meanwhile, a review of the fake soda product appears online, and the comments say the syrup is very bitter. At this time, someone else writes that his guildmates really liked it and sends a reaction for which he receives 500 won to his balance. But at that very moment, someone turns to Gru and asks if the teacher said that you can't use a phone during class. The girl immediately replies that she said so, and then the woman asks if Gru wouldn't mind dancing the orange dance with them. After which, the little girl agrees. Their woman suggests that they all sing together. The children begin to dance and sing together, and the girl dances. Understands that he will need to send candy for the review later. She also realizes that today's trade was successful. The girl is in an orphanage called New Spring, and is an awakened EU ranked being known as Fake Soda. This happened recently when the girl was brushing her teeth. A notification appeared in front of her that the system was open. The little girl immediately turned to the teacher and claimed that she had some strange thing ahead of her, but the woman was busy with other children. The girl understood that the teacher was busy, but Gru was already an adult, after all. She was 4 years old and she could handle it herself. A little while later, the little girl, lying in bed, saw that the update was complete. After that, her skills were unlocked. There was the Knead Sculpt skill, which allows you to mix and combine them to create different toys. Another skill called Extraction allowed one to extract the properties of materials. And the third one, called Dungeon, allowed one to open doors and explore dungeons. The girl also looked at the ranks of these skills and saw the letter L, but realized she had only learned letters up to S. Then she saw that L was legendary and 1 rank higher than S. After which, she received a notification confirming the user's age. To ensure uninterrupted communication, the system also configures the user's mental abilities. At that moment, the lady received a quest to find a worthy guardian. The girl wondered if they were talking about mom and dad, and also wondered why a guardian was needed. The lady wondered if it was because she didn't have a mom and dad. But from what she'd understood so far, there were 2 ways, with the help of which a child who grew up in an orphanage can start living with his mother and father. It is possible to move to the new 7, but the little one understands that this is not an option because it won't work out that easily. After which, she realizes that there is only one way left, and that is for mom and dad to come for her. The little girl remembers seeing one of the boys being taken away. The woman apologized to the child for arriving so late. She also claimed that her mother had gone through very difficult times before, but now they can go home. The girl understands that her mom and dad could be in a similar situation, after which she starts crying and realizes that she needs to earn a lot of money. If she becomes a hunter and earns a lot of money, she will be able to live with her mom and dad. The fact that she plans to earn money must be a secret, because the shelter will take everything away if they find out that she has too much of it. At that moment, the teacher approaches the lady and asks why she is not sleeping, gets scared by this, and the woman says that if she can't sleep, maybe the teacher will sing her a lullaby. The main character agrees, but understands that she can't fall asleep. After all, she still needs to think about something. But when the teacher starts to lull her to sleep, the little girl cannot restrain herself. The girl understands that in order to live with her mom and dad, she diligently traded in the dungeon. A little while later, the girl, in shock, asked the teacher if Luke Pay was really money. The woman replied that she actually needed to exchange them for cash so that she could use them, and for this, she needed a bank account. But the girl couldn't open one because she was still little, after which the woman suggested playing the bank and studying the topic further. Gru understands that she does not have a hunting license, so she can only sell at the bow market. The girl understands that she is a loser because she has 20 million won there. At that moment, someone else turns their attention to the TV and says that it is Onju Rim. Another teacher asks if he is now giving interviews, to which the other responds that it seems so. They say that he is still in first place. And one of the teachers replies that yes, apparently his pretty face and strength work wonders. The girl immediately turns to the teacher and says that she also wants to watch TV. At the same moment, the TV announces that they have a special edition about hunters, and that today an important person is their guest. This is a representative of the undisputed best guild in Korea called Hyunak, and his name is Onju Rim. The woman claims that Hyunak is known for always being at the center of scandals, and there are people who look with approval at how some guild members walk on the edge. She also asks how Onju Rim, as the guild leader, views this. He replies that at the Hyunak Guild, they respect and protect the freedom of action of each member. This is the role of the guild. As its head, he will honestly fulfill his duties, and besides, he thinks, who has the right not to answer questions that concern his work? And if she thinks that the Hyunak Guild members are crossing the line, then she should go to court and not to him. The woman asks if he's talking about the trial, and the screenwriter sighs heavily from behind. One of the teachers says that he is completely out of control, and this statement is bordering on scandal. At this time, the little girl thinks about freedom and realizes that she heard that guilds can help with chores. They can help with the ones that they can't handle alone. Maybe they can help with the bill. At the same moment, the woman on TV says that he really is the head of the guild, but she wonders what he can say to the hunters who want to join his guild. The man claims that they receive a lot of resumes from the Hyunak Guild. I don't care who the person is, so let them not send them. Then the woman asks him to describe what he sees as the ideal candidate Hyunak. Even a word is enough. The man replies that if someone is C rank, then maybe they will be interested. After which, an advertisement about Hunter Market began to appear on TV. One of the teachers asks if this means that no one is suitable for them at all, and the other replies that this guy has a handsome face, absolute strength, and the gift of speech, but his character leaves much to be desired. The little girl immediately turns to the teacher and states that she wants to ask something, after which she points to the TV where the guild headquarters is shown and asks how to get there. The little girl also asks to have a map drawn for her on the phone. A little while later, the guild leader looks at the transparent door in bewilderment. After all, there he sees a little girl peeking out from around the corner. The man realizes that she has been standing like this for 10 minutes and silently watching, after which he wonders if this is really the child of one of the employees. The guild leader approaches the hunter, Shin Na-young, and asks if she's secretly become a mother. The woman replies that she thought he became a father while she was away. When she sees the hesitation and the puzzled look of the boss, she wonders if this girl is really the source of a passionate relationship between the leader and one of the leaders of the enemy guild. The man replies that he doubts that even in a nightmare one could see such nonsense, after which he calls the little girl to him And when the girl comes inside, she bows and introduces herself, claiming that she is from the New Spring Shelter Chickens group. Her interlocutor asks how the girl got there, and she replies that it was difficult for her. The head of the guild asks if she is looking for her parents, and, picking up the phone, says that he is about to make an announcement. Well, the girl replies that no, and that she came there for something else. After which, the little girl starts screaming and asks the head of the guild to accept her. The man asks if she is talking about joining the guild, after which she claims that, of course, children have come before who wanted to become hunters, but at the moment she is the youngest of them. After which, he finally picks up the phone and says that this lost child should be sent home. At the same moment, workers run into the room and take the baby away. One of the employees asks why the boss is treating the child so cruelly, and the man replies that because of that, this girl will not come again. But the next day, when the man lifts his sleeping mask, he looks at the baby again. The girl claims that she is still small, but already awakened, and thanks to the synchronization of the system with her brain, she can think like an adult and has everything she needs to join the guild. Na-young claps her hands and says that their baby is so good at expressing her thoughts and speaking in public. However, the boss immediately asks when he approved of holding a children's party in his office. He also turns to the huntress and asks who allowed her to bring children to his office, because surely she has nothing better to do. The woman replies that yes, and she has nothing better to do, but she wonders how the boss found out. The man replies that outside of working hours, she can do whatever she wants, but at work, she needs to follow the rules, and henceforth only enter his office for business purposes. The woman replies that she came specifically on business and is taking a photo with the baby. The main character looks resolutely at her boss and mentally asks him to accept her. The man then sighs heavily and hands the lady a piece of paper with an inscription. He tells the girl to read this, and when she reads it, it's like apple. Then her interlocutor immediately claims that the candidacy has been rejected. The girl immediately falls off her feet and wonders if they really didn't take her, the child like that. And the man asks if he did anything bad. The girl, with tears in her eyes, claims that she simply has not yet learned all the letters and that she will be able to learn everything if he gives her a little time. The teacher says that she is doing well, and she is also the best in the group of chickens, after which the girl continues to cry. The man sighs and then asks his colleague if the cafe on the first floor sells food for children. A little while later, the girl is already at the shelter with her son, holding cookies. The lady understands that everything is bad, because a little while ago, the boss handed her cookies. Who said that now, even if she comes again, they won't let her in? But the cookies are still delicious. After which, the lady receives a notification on her phone asking if she is ready to take the order. A little while later, the girl is already climbing into her secret storage room. She takes everything she needs and understands that she needs to put everything neatly in her purse. After which, the little girl understands that everything is ready and takes the remote control for the teddy bear. And then he activates the dungeon skill, and the bear goes into it. But as soon as she does this, someone sees two men talking to each other, and one of them asks if his interlocutor came there for illegal trade. He also claims to be from the department investigating cases involving the awakened, and then asks to see his hunter's license. The guy replies that he misunderstood, saying he was just passing through. But his interlocutor says he's an experienced hunter, yet he acts like an ignorant newbie. The guy asks for forgiveness and to overlook this just this once. The little girl realizes that she saw people similar to him when she watched on TV about the police working 24 hours a day, and he's from the Department of Awakened Affairs. The lady is already thinking about how she could end up in jail for her illegal activities. The girl immediately gets scared and understands that she can't be caught. She immediately takes the bear away, and the policeman shouts at her to stay put. He also radios in to request assistance from the hunters near the Dobongsan dungeon. The awakened suspect, suspected of illegally trading the environment, escapes. At this time, someone in the car turns to Anju Rim and says that it was his guild that destroyed the dungeon at Kondok Station. Let him tell me how many times he's been told not to touch unregistered dungeons. This man is the head of the Department of Awakened Affairs. At this moment, Anju Rim receives a notification and immediately looks at his phone. The person he's talking to asks if he was pretending to be asleep. he receives a notification, and it says it's a request for help from nearby hunters. The man says that as a hunter who is proud of his country, he cannot allow a criminal who poses a security threat to go unpunished. His interlocutor claims that he did not know that he is Ju Rim, so interested in the security of Korea, and anyone else can go there, so he doesn't have to go. However, the guy claims that he walked and jumped out of the car while it was moving. The driver, noticing this, is surprised and immediately stops the car, and the man sitting in it hits his seat. The driver also claims that it's a busy highway, so he shouldn't get out right there. Well, his interlocutor claims that he can ignore this monster and just drive on. At this time, Ju Rim is hovering in the air and surveying the area, after which he heads to the Dabansan dungeon. When he lands on one of the rocks, he sees a bear on a bicycle, who are trying their best to leave this place. The man looks at the plush toy in bewilderment, then calls someone and claims that he came in response to a call. Ju Rim asks if it's true that the suspect in the illegal trade among the awakened ones escaped on a child's tricycle. His interlocutor replies that everything is correct. He is a well-known trader of awakened goods from the onion market. The man wonders if this is true and grabs the bear by the clothes. He also understands that it is a doll, after which he sees how magic begins to come out of the doll and goes to the owner. At this time, the main character looks at the TV screen and sighs, and also realizes that she is very scared. Gru realizes that she should have turned off the doll as soon as she saw the police, but out of fear, she started to run away. At the end, the tap started shaking, and apparently someone caught her. The girl wonders who it could be, but at that very moment, someone grabs her by the clothes. It turns out to be Ju Rim, and he asks if it is Han Gru. The little girl at the same moment turns to the head of the guild and asks if he really came to see Gru. The man turns around and realizes that the trace of magical power left on the doll came from there. After which, he takes a pink teddy bear out of the magical warehouse and tells Gru to speak honestly, after which he asks if it is hers, to which the girl replies that yes. She hugs her teddy bear and thanks the guild leader for finding him. At that very moment, the man calls out the girl's nickname at the market, and the little girl is surprised. Ju Rim looks at her reaction, after which he grabs the baby by the hand, after which the little girl sees a message about an internal intervention of the SSS rank. She asks the guild leader in her video statistics if he really did it, and the man sees a broken, legendary rank crafting skill. Ju Rim asks if the girl is really an awakened as rank. A little while later, the little girl apologizes, and the man asks if she wants to join his guild to trade illegally. And while evading taxes and laundering money, the girl asks what it is. She doesn't think she really understands what he's talking about, but her older sister from the orphanage said that agreement is half the battle. After which, the girl replies that yes, and wonders if they will really take her to the police. After which, the girl hands over her phone and tells the head of the guild that this is all for him. When the man picks up the phone, the little girl tells him to take it because she'll earn it all. The man looks at the phone with a balance of 21 million won. He asks if this is really a bribe, after which the little girl asks what it is and answers that yes. Her interlocutor asks how she will earn more money if she gives it to him. The girl replies that she will earn them at the onion market and then come to the guild and earn again. Ju Rim asks which guild she wants from the girl. She replies that she wants to join any guild. But when she looks at the time on her phone, she says that it's time for her to go to bed. The man replies that, of course, it's time for the kindergartners to go to bed. He also tells the lady to go to bed now, and tomorrow they can talk and agree on something. After which, the girl runs out of the room, and the brunette realizes that this could make him go crazy. The problem is not the illegal trade in awakened goods, but rather what to do with a high-ranking kindergartner who has no family or home. In Korea, they will praise this little C-rank girl as soon as they hear about her. But at the same time, cunning adults may try to use it in their intrigues. Ju Rim understands that this child needs a guardian. Well, he also thinks why he should take on such responsibility, and whether he will be able to take care of the child and raise him well. The guy remembers how they treated him after, which they put out their cigarette and say, no. The next day, the man drives up to the shelter and gets out of the car. When he approaches the gate, He thinks that it might be better not to do anything stupid and go back. After all, there is probably already a good guardian who would want to take this child. But at that very moment, she hears one of the boys say that it's all because of her strange hair color. And no one would want to take away a strange child like her. The little girl replies that even if no one takes her, it won't matter. After all, she will find mom and dad herself, and one of the boys asks what she is talking about. And does she really think that someone would want to take her? Because if that's the case, then she's so stupid. The girl understands that if she does the counting, no, she'll be able to find her mom and dad. But at that very moment, someone stands next to her. It turns out to be Onju Rim. The man picks up the baby and says that he will take her to his home. The girl looks at him and asks if this is really the head of the guild. One of the boys at the same moment claims that this is He Ju Rim. At the same moment, another of the teachers runs up to the man. Onju Rim asks if he is a teacher from the orphanage, after which he states that he is glad to meet you and his name is Onju Rim. The man also claims that he came to pick up his child. At this time, the baby sees a message that the quest for a reliable guardian has been completed. That evening, the baby lies in bed and smiles. She remembers how Onju Rim said that she and Gru would go to his house tomorrow. The little girl understands that the head of the guild said that he would adopt her, which means he will become her father. But at that same moment, the girl sees a man and a woman in front of her. The woman claims that this is why her aunt had a baby in her belly. At that very moment, the little girl covers herself with a blanket and says that if she doesn't answer, he's not her dad at all, but the head of the guild. She is taken into the guild because of her rank, and not because the head needs a child. So it's okay that he can't become her dad. The next morning, the little girl is already carrying a backpack. The man, taking the backpack in his hands, asks if these are all her things. The girl replies that yes, after which her interlocutor asserts that a lot of things will need to be purchased. The little girl says goodbye to her friends from the orphanage, and you are told not to forget about them. The boy who bullied her the loudest says goodbye to the girl and almost cries. Hee-ju Rim asks if this isn't the boy who bullied her yesterday, and the girl replies that they made up. Young-ho wanted to be friends with her, but she didn't, so he got angry. The man asks if he really wanted to be friends and wonders if all kids in their time were so quick, after which they leave the shelter, and the girl turns around to wave to her friends. He tells Ju Rim to sit still, which you agree to. The man understands that he first needs to buy a child seat, because if the child is under 6, then he needs to use a child seat when traveling in the car. The little girl looks around the car and realizes that everything there is shiny and sparkling. The girl wonders if she joins the guild, she too will be able to buy such a car and earn some money. She already imagines how everyone will say that they are proud of her because she is the most powerful hunter. The girl sits proudly in her place, admiring herself. Well, then she remembers that she needs to get a reward for the quest. When she clicks on the quest reward, she asks for it to be something good. But at that very moment, the little girl sees a message stating that the reward has been changed due to an unknown rank. After that, she gains a skill called Deep Affection. When the attachment index of a guardian and a ward becomes higher than the norm, the opportunity to register the guardian in a slot appears. When a guardian and child are together, they feel happier, which increases the effectiveness of magical energy replenishment. Afterward, the girl sees a message asking whether she wants to register Onju Rim as the primary guardian. The little one immediately clicks on yes, after which the prompts say that she can find a new guardian and register them in the slot. But you cannot place a guardian there whose rank is lower than the child's. The girl understands that more guardians can be registered, but she wonders how exactly they should be provided with care. After which, the lady sees an active skill called Healing Hands, because with the help of touch, one can restore the guardian's mana. Care points can be used as a resource for development in different areas, and the baby wonders if it is really possible to strengthen it this way. Stats? The lady understands that she needs to try it out right away, and when she clicks on her statistics, she realizes that she has rated everything at 1 point, but she has no care points. The lady understands that she is poor, and the man sees the girl's puzzled expression. He wonders what she's thinking about. The little girl understands that there's no need to be sad, even though all her stats are rated at 1. But now she is a member of the guild, And when the little girl asks her guardian if this is true, he claims that if she follows the rules, then yes. The little girl immediately claims that she can do everything, and her interlocutor asks if this is true. After which, he claims that the first rule is that trading in the onion market is prohibited. Even if she is from his guild, illegal trade is still prohibited. But the girl says that drinking onions is also prohibited and that she needs to sell them. The man replies that she can sell them at Hunter Market. Gru replies that she can't trade on Hunter Market because she's not registered as a hunter. The man claims that he will help her with registration, after which she will be able to trade anonymously on Hunter Market. Well, he also says that there will be no more illegal trade and asks the little girl if she understands, to which she replies that she does. Gru says that she is even ready to give him a commission. The man says that the second rule is that it is forbidden to give bribes, to which she agrees. The little girl wonders if the guild leader really doesn't like money, but she's already learned a thing or two. If your proposal doesn't suit someone, then you just need to offer more money. The lady understands that she must make an effort to express her gratitude in such a way that he cannot refuse and accepts her completely. When the baby arrives at Anju Rim's house, who says he is huge, the girl also points to the TV and says that it is bigger than her. After which, the lady turns around and sees her bicycle. She wonders if the guild leader found him along with the doll. Gru also understands that it is imperative to express his gratitude in the highest possible manner. After which the baby bows and then stands on her hands. The man, seeing that the baby could fall, immediately grabs her. After which he asks what she is doing, and she replies that she is performing a super bow. Ju Rim replies that super bows are prohibited, and one cannot jump like a frog or while lying on one's stomach. After this, the girl says that there are too many prohibitions and everything is now forbidden. And the man replies that this is because one needs to behave decently. A little while later, he turns to the lady again and asks what their rules are. The girl replies that she always says if something happens, you also need to not do dangerous things, not open the door to anyone, and eat well. The man says that this is good, and then goes into one of the rooms. When the little girl sees how everything is arranged there, she is delighted. The girl asks if this is really her room, to which the man replies that yes. When he lowers her to the floor, the baby immediately looks around. The girl also notices that there is even a bathroom there and claims that she wants to wash her hands. A little while later, they find themselves near the wash basin. Letty immediately washes her hands, humming some song. The man watches her with a smile on his face, after which the girl turns to the head of the guild. And he also suggests that he add conscience when he comes home and needs to wash his hands. The man extends his hand to the baby, after which the girl washes it. The guild leader watches the baby and realizes that she is just like her motorcycle that washes food. Gruhi says that now he would give his other hand, but the man suggests washing only the right one, to which the girl agrees and thinks that maybe the head of the guild is forced to hide something on his left hand. But it will be great if he ever shows it, hey. The next morning, the baby opens her eyes and realizes that the crib is very soft. But after lying there for a couple of seconds, the girl immediately throws off the blanket and realizes that she can't sleep because she needs to go brush her teeth. At the same moment, she sees a quest in front of her, which states that she shouldn't be lazy in the morning and that if she starts a small warm-up, this will contribute to the formation of useful bonus habits. She needs to help the lazy guardian start his morning exercises, and this will give 100 care points. The girl immediately runs out of her room and heads to her guardian's room. When the little girl enters the room, she sees Anju Rim lying on the bed. The little girl comes a little closer and then whispers to the head of the guild, after which the girl thinks that maybe it's worth calling again. But at that same moment, the man opens his eyes and the lady notices the color of his eyes. When the head of the guild wakes up, he wonders if it was she who woke him up. Gru whispers back that yes. The man asks how. The lady whispers again that she simply told the head of the guild, and he asks why she whispered. She replies that it was just so quiet there. She also tells the guild leader that if he's already up, then let him help Gru brush his teeth, after which the two head to the bathroom. When the lady brushes her teeth, she notices that the quest, "You can't be lazy in the morning," has been completed, and she received 100 care points. The girl understands that care points can be used to increase the statue, and it is so simple because they just brushed their teeth together and the stats increased. Gru realizes that she needs to quickly add other guardians to the slots again, in case she suddenly becomes the coolest, strongest, coolest drying girl. At this moment, someone else enters the house. The main character turns around and asks what it is. When the baby opens the door and peeks out from behind it, Hu sees someone rushing to the bathroom, and when he opens the door, he claims that this cannot be. The man screams in shock to the guild leader, asking what happened, and why isn't he sleeping? The guy says that a man who couldn't be woken up by a cannon shot in the morning suddenly woke up. The little girl understands that this is Uncle Yoon So-jun. He took her to the shelter when she was kicked out of the guild that day. The girl immediately raises her hand and says she woke him up. The man cries out in shock, wondering if she, with such a small body, could have done something so dangerous. He also asks if she is hurt, to which the baby replies that she is not. Hee Ju-rim says that if the guy doesn't want to get fired, then he should stop dramatizing and quickly return to work. A little while later, the girl is already trying on outfits, and one of the workers says that Gru is so cute. Yoon So-jun claims that they were right to clean out the children's clothing store. The girl only smiles in response to this, and when she leaves, the head of the guild asks her if she should do it. When he sees the baby, he claims that she has become even cuter. The girl asks if this is true, to which he replies that it is. Gru-hee says the guild leader is also really cool. The man puts his phone down, after which he takes the girl in his arms and asks if she is ready to go. The lady asks where, and he replies that they will get her hunting license. A little while later, the girl is already walking through the guild with a smile on her face. One of the ladies whispers to the guild leader, asking who that girl is and if she's the guild leader's adopted child. Someone replies, "Yes, there was a photo in the chat, and it looks like she just stole all the snacks from the break room." The woman claims that she is a cutie, and her interlocutor agrees. The main character, with a smile on her face, realizes that she was given a bunch of snacks and everyone is so kind in the guild, so it's great. She also remembers the leader's words that she should eat there and come back immediately. The girl thinks that maybe you guild will be able to quickly find new guardians for her, and next time you need to look for someone with a rank who could love her. And today, she has another matter called the Great Power Concealment Project. She will need to be recorded with an F rank and not with a C. The guild leader said that if it became known that she had a legendary skill, evil uncles would hunt her. So she needs to register as a hunter, but hide her good skill just like a real hunter. The lady understands that she is now also a strong woman hiding her strength. When the girl goes further down the corridor, she sees some man, and then they notice how he takes out a knife and thinks, maybe this man is an enemy. The girl looked into the guild leader's background and found out he has many enemies. Seeing the previews on the channels about the complete failure of On Ju-rim's interview, the lady realized that Koreans were horrified. Well, to be honest, who thinks Gru didn't do the right thing? The teacher told us to be kind and polite to everyone. The girl thinks that maybe the head of the guild didn't go to kindergarten because he's so rude and probably really didn't go. Well, even if he is evil with others, he is good with her. So we need to protect the guild leader. The lady is about to call someone, but at that very moment, she sees a man wound his hand with a knife. The girl realizes that there is red liquid on his hand, after which he starts screaming that he shouldn't do that. The man immediately picks her up in his arms, and the girl screams again for him to stop. Her interlocutor asks what needs to be stopped, and when people point to his hand, they see that there is nothing there anymore. Gru immediately asks where she went. The guy says that she saw something that she was not supposed to see. He also shakes the baby and asks if she is going to continue lying, because then he will swallow her in one bite. At that very moment, the girl screams out that no, and asks to be saved because she is not tasty. The guy puts the lady on the floor and asks if this is true, and the little girl, looking at his smile, wonders if this isn't an enemy. The boy understands that this child is a kindergartner whom the guild leader adopted, and this little miracle of rank C. A little while ago, a guy was walking along the road. The guild leader wrote that the guy needed to come to the office, and he asked if they'd found out about him destroying the dungeon at Kondok Station. The man asked if it was really him, but then insisted they'd talk about it later. After all, changes needed to be made to the ranks. After which, the guy saw how some man made a fire and screamed for them not to come near him. This man shouted that if they took even one step, he would blow up this car and all of them along with it. Someone reported that a support hunter had arrived and that everyone should move 10 meters away from the suspect. At this time, the guy was texting the boss that he would be there in 10 minutes and asked whose data it was, to which his boss replied that this was a kindergartner's data. And the guy wondered if this was some kind of scam. One of the rescuers cried out, "Could this really be the hunter Kidan? And why did he come for a routine mission?" One of them claimed that only the Hunak Guild could send a C rank to catch B rank, and that this was completely crazy. After this, the guy says that he needs to run, because it seems the head of the guild kidnapped the kindergartner. The young man immediately took out his knife and said that we needed to finish this as quickly as possible. While the guild leader hasn't come to his senses, you need to try to strike from behind. Otherwise, you won't be able to get close to him. And at that very moment, the guy rushed forward. He easily dealt with the criminal in a few seconds. And at that very moment, one of the rescuers reported that the suppression was complete. Kidan bowed and asserted that he would probably go first, since he still needed to start preparing for the coup. This shocked his interlocutor, and he screamed at the hunter to wait, and also asked if he would write a report. But he only turned on music in his headphones. Now the guy is stroking the baby and understands that the secretariat said that she was small and cute and a lot of other things. But it turns out that she really is like that. The guy also asks the girl to tell him why he should spare the liar's life. At that moment, the little girl takes something out of her bag and says that she will give it all to him. The guy asks what it is, and the lady replies that it is a bribe because she gave him especially sweet strawberry syrup. Her interlocutor immediately smiled and asked if she really thought he would let her go for this, after which he said that we need to see how good her bribe is. But after scanning this syrup, he saw that it was a potion for increasing strength, and it significantly increases strength when consumed and also has a cumulative effect. The man, shocked, asked if it really had a cumulative effect, to which the girl replied that it was given and needed to be taken little by little, otherwise it would make you sick. Kidan asks if she is a craft, to which the lady replies that yes. And her interlocutor says that Anju Rim found a real treasure. He understands that if the girl really is a craft gray, then her price is different, especially now when there is only one high-ranking crafter in the world. And he created just 4 unique Tier C+ items. This Amakusa series instantly gained immense popularity and became a true event. Crafter appears. No new equipment with that rank will be created. And then a new crafter appeared in person, and he was also a kindergartner from the orphanage. If this becomes known, Korea will simply explode. But the girl is as small as a chicken, and now it's clear why the head of the guild adopted her. He simply couldn't leave her there. After the chip, the guy suggests going to the guild leader, as her rank needs to be measured in the center. The girl then asks if he is the same person that the head of Guild 5 told her about. The plan said that only the head of the guild, Nayeon, and him would know about this. The guy asks if he has already told, and is interested in how the head of the guild introduced him. The little girl replies that the guild leader said that Kidan is a very, very strong hunter, and that he will also help Gru today. The main character understands that he also said that the guy is crazy and that she shouldn't even stand near him, but she thinks that she shouldn't say this. The lady understands that this is probably me now in adult life, and it turns out that she is also an adult. At that very moment, she receives a message stating that a new guardian has been found, and that when the attachment index becomes high enough, she will be able to register a new guardian. The girl wonders if he too is of high rank, but then she realizes that she won't choose just anyone. She also turns to the couple, wondering what just happened and whether it was magic. The guy replies that it's a skill penalty, and the stronger the skill, the more severe its restrictions. But the little girl wonders why he used it, and right in front of the guild leader's office. The guy replies that he wanted to take first place from him while he was out of his mind. But it seems he hasn't gone crazy, so it's such a shame. The main character doesn't know if it was a joke or not. She asks if that means she can't use this skill because it hurts. But the guy replies that this is inevitable because he must become stronger. At that very moment, the young man opens the door and says that today he refused the coup only because Gru and he didn't even know that the head loved Kidan so much. The girl wonders if she really protected the guild leader, and maybe the bribe worked after all. The man suggests that he stop talking nonsense and go where they need to go. The little girl understands that the project to hide great power is starting right now. A little while later, one of the women asks if this girl is little Han Gru, smiles in response, and the examiner thinks how cute she is. The woman asks the little girl what this skill is and whether she really has needles growing out of her body. The baby replies that no, and if you hit her with a toy, it will sting painfully. Her interlocutor claims that it is charming, but then claims that she needs to test the skill and asks if she could demonstrate it there. But then the girl claims that she will hurt her, but hits her with a toy. The woman pulls her hand back slightly and realizes that it really does tingle. At that very moment, the girl, with tears in her eyes, asks if she is in pain, and her interlocutor replies that everything is fine. She also tells the little girl to follow her because she will show her where the measuring room is, to which the girl agrees, after which she enters the room. And Na Young-hee says that there is no need to worry because everyone there knows their business perfectly well. At the same moment, someone tells the baby to stand inside, and then they begin measuring. The baby begins to float in the air during the examination, and the doctor says that the examination is complete. But at that very moment, a loud sound is heard. The girl falls to the floor, and the man who runs into the room screams that a monster has escaped from the reserve. He also says that it is urgent to gather all the hunters in the center. Another woman asks to take people to the waiting room, to which her colleagues agree. Is smiling at Na Young at this time. He says it's time to start. Kidan writes in the chat that the preparations are complete, and Na Young writes the same. While the workers are screaming for everyone to evacuate, one of them wonders what kind of monster escaped. His interlocutor replies that they said that it was a monster of rank B Labdragon. The guild leader watches everyone run away and understands that this monster is not very smart, so catching it will not be difficult. Kidan quickly did everything, after which the man headed to the computer. He understands that the data from the first measuring room is located there, and their statistics indicate that its status is F and the overall rank is S. The man thinks how sweet it is of them and then uses his skill, which is called internal intervention. When the workers return to their posts, one of them claims that the glass in the reserve is long overdue for replacement. The windows were too expensive, so they didn't replace them but waited until the old one finally broke. Another one says it's a good thing it's a weekday morning and there aren't many people around, and also lucky that it is in the center. Team leader Jin, you see, they almost wasted a lot of effort. After which, one of them suggests looking at this child's statistics and says that, as expected, she has an F rank, and that waking up too early is not always good. At this time, the man thinks about team leader Jin. He also wonders if there is a hunter in the center who can defeat the Brang monster so quickly. But this is also Jin, a S-rank runaway son of another country. And besides, he is the owner of the reading skill. At this time, the little girl is sitting on a chair and thinking when Na Young will come. A little while ago, she told the girl not to go anywhere and to sit there, and her older sister would come soon. The girl understands that the alarm ended too quickly and maybe something went wrong. The main character also wonders if she will be able to become a secret strongman. The girl is already thinking that the project to hide her powers has failed and that everyone has found out about her abilities. So now the evil men will attack her. Well, at that very moment, the little girl hears someone enter the room and immediately jumps out of her place. The girl immediately hugs this man by the leg and says that this is her older sister. But she was obedient like a sister and asked. But then the girl wonders why her older sister has such hard legs. And when she looks up, she realizes that this is another person. At this time, the guy claims that he is not the older sister. He is Jin Shi-wan's uncle. The little girl immediately jumps away from him and wonders if this is an enemy. The guy immediately apologizes and claims he didn't expect to scare her so much. He just wanted to see if the waiting room was safe. At this time, the girl wonders if this means that he is not going to catch her, to which the man replies that he is not a bad person at all, but just an uncle who works there. He also asks if the girl wants candy when she tries to get one. Then other candies fall, and the man starts collecting them. The main character wonders if he is an enemy and realizes that he is somehow painfully clumsy. The man is still collecting his candies when he looks up. He sees the little girl handing him one. He comments on how awkward it is and asks if she likes the taste of ginseng. But the girl is only interested in what kind of taste it is. Jin replies that it is the taste of red ginseng and that he doesn't actually know what flavors children like. The girl replies that she likes ginseng, and the man says that it's good, because then the lady can take this candy. Gru understands that he is being too caring, after which she thanks him. The man can't stand such cuteness, and at that very moment, the lady pops out a message stating that a potential guardian has been found. If the attachment index is increased, the guardian can be registered. The little girl is shocked, wondering if this guy is also a C rank. At that moment, another woman runs into the room and asks if the little girl was there alone. She also claims that she missed her and apologizes because she wanted to return quickly, but she had to wait for the measurement results. The little girl turns to her aunt and claims that she also missed him, but waited and behaved well. The woman then hugs the baby, and Jin watches silently. The lady, paying attention to him, asks who he is, to which the guy replies that he is the head of the first special investigation team of their department, and his name is Jin Shiwan, after which the man apologizes for today and claims that they caused a lot of inconvenience. The lady replies that it's nothing to worry about since she didn't even see the tip of the monster's tail. They said it was a really cool boss who figured it out completely, and she assumes that they were talking about him, to which the man replies that yes, and it looks like that. The man also turns to the huntress and asks if she has come to the center to change her rank again, to which the woman replies that no, and Zhang looks at the baby, after which he asks if she is awakened, to which his interlocutor replies that yes, that is exactly why they are there, because they need to register. The man replies that it is clear, and the little girl understands that the taste of ginseng is strange, but so attractive. At this time, someone else is watching them from the camera. It turns out that Ju Rim, the man, understands that everything turned out so awkwardly. After all, this is where he was caught. But he cannot plunge the management employee into eternal sleep. When a child is too smart, this can also be a problem. The man understands that I wanted to use this method, but there is nothing I can do about it. After which he removes the glove from his left hand and casts a spell, so that the owner of the permafrost living on the 99th floor wakes up. After which he touches the wall of the building and activates the silent Orpheus skill. At the same time, one of the workers claims that everything in their 5th measuring room is broken. Another man claims that this is not just a glitch, because his skills have stopped working. Everyone is running around in panic and wondering where their status is. Jin immediately runs up to the screams, and when he notices Ju Rim, he quickly bows and then continues running. At this moment, a little girl runs out from another room. The girl immediately turns to the head of the guild, and the man wonders why she is so happy and runs to him like a puppy. The man leans over to the little girl and asks if she behaved well and successfully registered, to which she replies that she did. The girl replies that her older sister Na Young helped her, and now she has F rank. Ju Rim says that it is good, but wonders what is in her mouth, to which the little girl replies, states of ginseng lollipop. The taste is really strange, though. The man insists that you shouldn't take anything from strangers, then asks me to spit the candy out. The girl does so, after which he suggests going further. But the little girl asks him to take her hand, after which he does so. But when the girl takes the guild leader by the hand, she notices that he doesn't have a glove on his hand, tells Ju Rim to keep it a secret, and the little girl understands. What does that mean? He did something. A little while later, they arrive at Ju Rim's house. The girl wonders why the guild leader took off his glove and whether it might be connected to a secret plan. The girl also notices that the guild leader looks tired, after which she asks if he has any pain somewhere. When she sees Ju Rim's face, she immediately picks up her phone and prepares to call 911. But the man snatches the phone from her hands and claims that everything is fine with him. He also tells the girl to go to her room and wait for him there. But at that very moment, he falls to the floor, which leaves the ladies in shock. A little while later, Sojun bursts into the room and screams at the guild leader. A little while later, the girl is already sitting on the bed next to Anju Rim. Sojun claims that the head of the guild simply fell asleep, so Miss Gru shouldn't worry. The girl wonders if he is just sleeping, and her interlocutor takes out a handkerchief. And wiping away her tears, Miss Gru asks if she should tell her about the tower that no longer exists. Well, the little one replies that yes. After which, the man claims that the tower appeared suddenly 2 years after the Great Disaster. With its emergence, the world changed, and monsters and a dungeon appeared that no one had ever heard of. And some people suddenly had an unknown power awaken, and it was a very difficult time. However, the tower did not allow people to get used to the new reality and began counting down the time remaining until the destruction of humanity. At that time, the guild leader was a hero who fought terrible monsters at the tower. The man claimed that they had almost reached the top floor, so everyone needed to try, and now they had a chance to get to the tower. But a little while later, his colleagues were in a terrible state. Some of them claimed that this monster was too strong, and that was why they couldn't do it. After which, the guy claimed that he would seal the owner of the 99th floor inside himself and let them go to the 100th floor. His interlocutor then asked if the guy would be okay, to which he nodded. The little girl wonders if the guild leader has sealed a terrible monster within himself, and the man replies that yes, he is in the left hand of the guild leader, and thanks to this, after 3 years, they were able to pass the tower. The sealed master of the 99th floor locks up the mana of the guild leader every day, and when all his strength leaves him, just like now, he falls asleep. The little girl asks if he really needs to sleep if he has no mana, to which her interlocutor replies that finishing him off to restore his mana is the fastest way. He will feel better when he rests, so let the girl go to her room and sleep too. This has happened before, and he will come to his senses soon. But the little girl replies that she wants to sit there and still wonders when the guild leader will wake up. The man replies that probably in 2 days, after which he states that he will go then. When he walks out the door, he finally sighs and realizes that the guild leader last took off his glove a year ago. He did this to stop the destruction of the dungeon. Then he saved the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. But because of this, he couldn't wake up for a whole month. Now, it will probably be the same, but if he tells the little girl about this, she will definitely be in trouble. Even if the information about transporting to the 99th floor is a secret, but he thinks she should know about it. Although the guild leader rarely talks about such things, 5 years have passed since he left the tower. At this moment, the man also hears a ringtone. He realizes that someone is calling Miss Gru, after which the man thinks who it is. But the name says that this is the registration center for the awakened. At this time, the baby is near the head of the guild. She understands that she has never seen adults feel so bad. Gru also wonders what she can do. And at that moment, she receives an urgent quest due to the absence of her main guardian. To awaken a guardian whose mana has been depleted, a child's touch is needed. She can use her care skill and healing hands to help the guardian. And the reward for this quest will be 500 care points. And the little girl understands that she has already managed to forget about it. People understand that it is probably possible to replenish the guild leader's mana with the help of this skill. After which, the little girl mentally asks the guild leader to wake up quickly. The girl touches him and claims that she will take good care of him. At this time, the man sees in front of him a portrait of his friend with a black ribbon. He lights the candles and then bows. Well, when he leaves the room. Then he is blinded by numerous flashes, and none of the reporters are interested in what happened in the tower. Another claimed that for the sake of the families of the hunters who had fallen into eternal sleep, they were asking him to say at least something as the only survivor. After this, the guy only claimed that he didn't reach the 100th floor, after which the man opens his eyes. When he turns around, he sees that the baby is squeezing his hand. Hee-ju-rim turns to her and tells the girl to let him go because he can't get up. But the baby shakes her head, after which the man lies back down and realizes that the girl is so small and tender that he is afraid of accidentally hurting her. He also asks if the girl was worried about this, to which she replies that she was very worried. On Ju-rim, he thinks what to do now because the choice is, to put it mildly, very meager. After all he can do is give a cookie or some other treat. He apologizes to the girl and claims that he should have explained everything to her. And the little girl, with tears in her eyes, insists that the leader has already told her everything. About how the guild leader loses a lot of mana and that when he expends so much energy, he needs to get a good night's sleep. Ju-rim wonders if it doesn't sound like he's throwing mana around left and right, after which the girl apologizes to the head of the guild and claims that she will behave well, but only if he doesn't get sick. Ju-rim thinks what he should say, and is it really true that this was something important only for her? And for him, it means nothing. After which, the man just hugs the girl and asks if she cried because of him. The little girl replies that yes. Her interlocutor claims that he simply wanted to kick the bad guy out of the center. He also wonders if she didn't know, and the little girl looks at him in surprise. Ju-rim asks if she is really the best in the group of chickens, after which the girl replies that it doesn't matter to them, let him not get sick anymore. In response to which he agrees, I picked up my phone. He understands that it is not easy. He thought that he would bring the girl, feed her, dress her, and that would be it. But the task turned out to be much more complicated. Well, of course, if the guardian suddenly fell asleep for a week, this could not help but become a big problem. However, looking at his phone, the man realizes that it is the same day and wonders why. He turns to the little girl and asks what she did to him and whether she really gave him some kind of syrup to drink. The girl replies that this is a skill called caring. The lady shows how she did it and how the manna jumped out, and also how God made the head of the guild, after which he immediately opened his eyes. The man asks what the side effects are and if she might feel tired, pain, or weakness, after which she shakes her head, denying it. Ju-rim understands that he is afraid to even imagine that the ball will have the ability to quickly restore mana without any of the side effects are simply incredible. After which, he says that it is clear, and then this will also be their secret. So let the baby not tell anyone. Ju-rim understands that this is all very complicated, and can all parents in this world really know how to properly handle such tiny people who are more like animals? Well, if we talk about care, then he puts his hand on the girl's head, and after stroking her, he thanks her. The little one looks at the guild leader in surprise, after which he asks if she was able to help, to which he replies that she helped him a lot. The girl with a smile on her face understands that she was able to help and she is a useful person for the head of the guild. At this time, Sojun is talking to someone on the phone and claims that he understands, but it is a kindergarten-aged girl. And in general, he will call back later. But at that very moment, the man notices the head of the guild. When he hangs up, he asks how he woke up so quickly. The other person replies that they'll talk later and asks who just called. So Zunhei replies that this was a call from the administration, and the gentleman knows that a new law on awakening has been in effect since the end of last year. To get a hunter's license, Gru needs to go to the dungeon, and the girl asks if this is true. A little while later, the head of the department cries out that no. He also wonders what they want from him. Ju-rim claims that this is a little girl. Therefore, let him at least give him permission to enter the dungeon too, but his interlocutor is interested in whether a C rank will go into an F rank dungeon. They chose an easy dungeon, so it definitely wouldn't be dangerous. Meanwhile, the little girl was watching a lesson about hunters, which stated that hunters are forbidden from entering dungeons with levels 2 levels lower than their own. Ju-rim says that he understands, but he must still give permission to enter the dungeon. Otherwise, he will crawl in without permission. The head of the department cries out, "Did he really think of threatening her? Then let him hire people and put her on the bus." The girl asks if they are talking about the bus, and Sojun claims that this is when a high-ranking hunter takes a low-ranking hunter with him into a dungeon. Ju-rim asks if the girl heard about this, and if so, then let her get ready to agree to something. The little girl wonders if she will end up going to the dungeon. A little while later, someone is already scaring the little girl. It turns out to be Kadan. The guy claims that she met a scary monster in the dungeon and asks what to do. At this time, the girl says a phrase to make the cherry petals flutter, and at the same moment, it strikes. When casters using this skill are within the area of effect of the developing petals, they become invulnerable to all physical attacks for 12 seconds. Ki-don can't help but laugh, but at that very moment, someone else enters the room. Hee-ju-rim asks why Ki-don is teaching the child bad things, but he replies that he is worried and decided to give a couple of useful tips. The guy also wonders if the boss is worried at all. The man replies that he doesn't think it's something to worry about. A little while later, the girl is prepared for the dungeon and is given a soft, comfortable pillow to protect her head from blows. And also knee pads and a bunch of other A-rank stuff, so her stats are improved by A-rank stuff. Hee-ju-rim asks if the girl knows that they can't be in the dungeon together. She answers yes. And her interlocutor asks if she also knows that they can't go far without the other aunts and uncles from the team. The man also asks what she should do when she gets scared. In response, the little girl shows the paper and insists that it needs to be rolled up. Ki-don claims that his colleague said he wasn't worried, but he gave her a scroll that couldn't even be found at auction. Well, the man tells him to wait, after which he suggests that Han-gru put on his suit because it's time to go, to which the girl agrees. When the girl puts on her suit, her interlocutor asks what it is, to which the little girl replies that she is wearing a warm suit and understands that there are warmers inside. She also realizes that if she adds the duck tongs, it will be incredibly hot and prickly. Ki-don can't help but laugh again. The head of the guild understands that the baby is completely ready, and a little while later, they already find themselves at the slime dungeon on Mount Bukan. The leader of the group claims that from now on, he will go inside alone. There is a control protection there, so let them not go far, and there is a door leading to the heart of the dungeon and to the boss, so let them not go there. The man also tells the team members to stay there and wait for him. This guy is the team leader, Lee Sang-hyuk, and his rank is D. One of the girls agrees with the head and the other one too. One of them claims that the guy disappeared so quickly, and he is a good guy because he goes through Franco's dungeon alone. Another lady claims that she too was actually afraid to walk alone, and that it was a good thing they found this particular bus. Another one replies that she too initially thought there would only be scary guys on board. At this time, the main character stands in a stupor, and another lady claims that it's as if they are not in a dungeon. And at the amusement park, another one replies that it's not scary at all. The silver-haired lollipop asks if they are hungry by any chance, since her mother gave her some treats to share with the others. The woman gives out treats to others, but then she turns to the main character. Then suddenly he goes into a stupor, and the little girl wonders why she suddenly froze. The girl wonders if she really doesn't want to give Gru treats. Her interlocutor claims that the baby probably won't be able to eat there. Then she suggests that she take the treat with her so that she can eat it when she gets home. The main character is happy and realizes that she already thought that this girl was greedy, but she turns out to be so kind. The girl thanks her interlocutor, after which she devours the entire delicacy. The silver-haired lady is shocked and wonders if she is even able to eat. At this time, the main character realizes that this delicacy is soft and sweet. And maybe next time I should bring her a treat too. But at the same moment, the girl begins to feel somehow strange and thinks that something is wrong. The lady also wonders why she feels sick. And she has heard that this happens when she is overwhelmed by the magical energy of monsters. But this is just a dungeon of F-rank slimes. When the lady turns around, she sees that the door to the boss's room has suddenly opened. The girl also pays attention to others and understands that they still don't know about it. Gru realizes that she is there alone, and the bus driver is far away. That's why she has to save everyone, and she is the strongest there because she is a C rank. After which, the little girl takes her bike and is about to enter the dungeon. Well, when she puts her hand in it, she realizes that she is being sucked inside. After which, the girl falls into the dungeon when she opens her eyes. Who realizes there are only slimes there? The girl also takes out her escape charm, but at the same moment, she receives a notification that she cannot use it in the boss's territory. The little girl is in shock and thinks about what to do, but then she realizes that she needs to calm down, because the guild leader said that slimes don't attack first. You just need to sit quietly and wait until the bus driver returns, after which the baby moves back a little and bumps into some column. When the girl looks up, she sees a large crystal ball. she receives a notification that it is the core of the Ice Clan's cradle, and the little girl thinks how beautiful it is. The girl also thinks she'll get angry or even slug if she takes it away. But then it will hurt. But at the same moment, the girl thinks that if she pulls it out using the pull skill, it will be possible to steal it unnoticed. The girl also thinks what a copper she is and activates her skill. Afterwards, she receives a notification that she has acquired a Mephisto shard. It states that, while in Frost Tribe territory, target's defenses are reduced by 50%, while the owner's attack power is increased by 100%. The little girl is shocked, wondering if the attack power really increases by 100%, and the girl's duck spikes can become a powerful weapon. After which the ladies use their Mississippi skill, and the duck connected to Mephisto gets the effect of a shard. It also mentions the additional effect of Togo being able to create snow ducks using mana, and the little girl is considering whether it's worth trying. After which the girl does so and realizes that she really succeeded. Now you can make new snow figures as much as you want, and she has this cool ability. At that very moment, the little girl throws the duck and it hits the slime, causing it to fly apart. The girl understands that a huge slug has fallen and that this is really Gru's power. The little one immediately begins to destroy other slimes, after which a message arrives stating that the Ice Clan dungeon has been completed. Notifications also pop up asking whether the hunter's name should be added to the leaderboard. The girl immediately deletes the name Unfinished Bear Cub. The little girl also understands that she has made another checkerboard towards the title of the strongest hunter. People think that now it's time to leave, but at that very moment, something strange opens up behind her. From this gap in space, someone's hand emerges and almost touches the lady. But when I turn around, I don't give myself anything, and I think about what it was. At this time, in the rest area, the dungeon leader states that the dungeon is complete and thanks everyone. One of the ladies thanks him and claims that she didn't even have time to notice how he entered the boss's room, and everything ended so quickly. But the man replies that he didn't want to go into the boss's room and doesn't know why, but the boss disappeared on his own. This happened for the first time. The dungeon was completed, so everything will be fine with the license. After which they say that it is clear and thank each other. A little while later, they come out of the dungeon, and the little girl notices that it has started to rain. One of the ladies immediately turns to her mother and asks what she is doing there. The woman replies that she is meeting her daughter and it is raining, so she was worried. The main character, watching these two, realizes that she is so jealous, and she has a feeling just like after kindergarten. Friends were always met by parents, but as always, I was left alone. Well then, the little one understands that she can go home on her own. Once she arrives, we'll need to make a rain suit. Well, at that very moment, she bumps into someone, and when she raises her gaze, who sees a man in a mask who asks where she is going alone. After all, it's raining outside, and the little one, listening to this voice, understands that this is the head of the guild. But the man shows her to be quieter, because if someone finds out, he will have problems. After which he takes the girl in his arms and thanks him for coming. Anzu-rim replies that it's self-evident, but asks what's wrong with her voice. The lady replies that it's an automatic transformation and she wanted to look cool. Gru claims that she did a lot in the dungeon and even received new power, after which the man says that she is a good girl. The girl claims that the weather is so nice today, but her interlocutor says that when it rains, people usually say the weather is bad. The main character says that the head of a guild is an adult, but does not know much, because when it rains, the family comes to take him home. Because of this, my mood improves significantly. So the weather is good today. The man is silent for a moment in response to this, after which he asks if she is cold. The little girl replies that it is very hot in the suit, smiles in response to this, and also says that today is really good weather. A little while later, the man is standing on the street, and at this time, someone else addresses the guild leader. One of the workers asks if his daughter has woken up, after which they congratulate him. He-Ju-Rim wonders if this is déjà vu, and wonders how many times he has already heard this today. The man also thinks how everyone knows that the girl is awakened, but when he enters the building, what she sees is a little girl who throws down her license and says that she accidentally dropped it. One of the workers asks if the baby is awake, and the other replies that it's great and asks if the baby wants a chocolate bar. Hee-ju-rim puts his hand on his head and understands who was spreading this information. At this time, the girl happily runs around with her license and says that it's so cool. The little girl also wonders when she will go underground again and whether she will be able to do it tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Well, the man replies that later, and the little girl asks disappointedly when this will happen later. Hee-ju-rim replies that she will be able to do this when she grows up. Here are the two. Gru cries out, "How can I do that?" It's about 100 meters. The man asks if she's talking about 100 meters and if she really thought he was 100 meters. The little girl wonders if he is really 101 meters. Her interlocutor says that those who do not know how many centimeters are in 1 meter will not go anywhere. But the lady claims that she has a reason to go, and she is now a member of the guild. You have to work hard and be useful. After which, the man asks where she got all this. But she hardly even watches TV. After which, the little girl replies that she won't say where she learned this. The man claims that children don't need to think about such things, after which he asks for her hand. And when the baby holds it out, the man puts a watch on her. The little girl looks at them, and her interlocutor claims that he will connect them to her children's phone. Gru looks at the new accessory with admiration and realizes that it is, after all, a smartwatch. But this is a gift from a C-rank hunter, and maybe they are not like everyone else and can do something special. The little girl is also interested in the Corner Guild and whether it is possible to perform magical transformation with their help. The man asks if she is talking about that cartoon and then invites her to try it. The girl gets into a transformation stance and then starts spinning. Afghan stands in a victory pose and says the word shine. But since she is still little, she says a completely different word. The man, hearing this, is shocked and tells the girl to come to him. He also asks her to say the word again, and the girl says the bad word again. Hee-ju-rim tells her to repeat it more slowly, and the girl finally pronounces it correctly. When she succeeds, the little girl repeats this word many more times, trying to transform herself. Well, when she looks at the guild leader, she notices his laughter and facial expression. The lady realizes that she has been deceived, after which she hits him and screams that he is a liar. The man just picks the girl up and asks if she is angry. He also asks what he can do to stop her from getting angry, and the lady replies that she wants to attack the land. But her interlocutor says that he will do everything except that. Gru says that if she just plays like a grasshopper, she might get kicked out of the guild. Hee-ju-rim claims that this will not happen so she can go play. The job of a kindergartner is to play well and sleep. The little girl says that if she is no longer needed, she could be sent to a shelter. The man, shocked, asks what she is talking about and wonders why the girl thinks that way. When a lady wants to answer something, her interlocutor tells the girl to look at him. He asks again why she thinks so, and Gru understands that she doesn't want to talk about it. If she says that she has become unnecessary to her previous family, then he might think that she has more shortcomings that she urgently needs to be brought back. The girl claims that this is life. You never know what will happen tomorrow. Gru also says that she will go to the toilet and then go home with her older sister. Hee-ju-rim understands that she definitely didn't just say that. He wonders if the girl picked up all sorts of things while watching TV, or if there is another reason. He looks sadly after the baby and realizes that usually at this time he feels sleepy. But mana began to leak less, and the fatigue level decreased noticeably. After which, the man sighs and calls the director and also claims that he wanted to ask something. As the little girl walks down the corridor, she realizes that the guild leader knows nothing. Well, she also understands that people's hands are cool because everyone there loves her so much. To stay in this guild and receive the leader's praise, she must be strong and useful. At the same time, she receives an achievement called "The Main Thing is Not to Lose Heart," and it states that the growth effect is increased by 30% for 3 days, and for her teammates as well. The girl is happy and understands that she will be able to lure her guardian, but at the same moment she feels a strange, intense pain and realizes that something is itching behind her, as if a mosquito had bitten her. Kidan is tossing the ball at this point. The girl is in her teddy bear costume. She approaches the hunter and claims that he was invited there because she wants to offer him a deal. At the same moment, the man takes off the lady's hat and she desperately says that it is not necessary. The girl puts her hat back on and claims that she promises to give him such a reward that he will not be able to refuse. After which, she asks if he agrees to accept her offer. The man replies that he doesn't know and asks if she made the syrup that makes a hunter number one. He also calls the girl silly. But the baby claims that she is not stupid. And on the contrary, it is the one who wants such syrup who is stupid. The man takes off her hat again, and the little girl says that Kidan is mean. After which, her interlocutor apologizes, insisting he was just joking and was wrong, and asks for forgiveness. The girl replies, "Just this once." After which, her interlocutor asks what kind of deal she is offering him. The girl replies that she wants to gain experience in the dungeon, so that she can then create useful items and help the Hunak Guild. The man asks what she needs, because he will find everything. After which, the girl replies that she needs to go to the dungeon to gain experience. Her interlocutor asks if she really wants to go so much. The second girl replies that she has one cool thing, and if she goes with a companion, the experience will increase by 50% for 3 days. The man claims that it's cool, and 50% it's like going into a dungeon of a higher rank. Well, the lady says that the head of the guild shouldn't know about this deal, otherwise they'll get into trouble. The girl also claims that the main thing is that they don't get caught, and if they don't get caught, then this won't happen. She also wonders what Kidan will say and whether he agrees to the deal. But he is not a coward who is afraid of being scolded. After which, the guy replies that she took it right out of her mouth. The man extends his hand to the lady in response, and a little while later, they find themselves near the dungeon. Kidan claims that this lady's skill is so cool, it's just what's needed for those who don't have the right to come to such places. The lady claims that with this skill, one can enter all the dungeons in Seoul. Her interlocutor says the state is excellent, after which he suggests going. A little while later, the little girl throws a snowball at one of the monsters, and its defense is reduced by 50%. Kidan removes this monster from behind with a bat, after which it falls. The guy says that one of the monsters is ready, and the little girl claps with delight. Well, at that very moment, the young man notices something strange when he raises his head. He sees a huge monster in front of him, but when he attacks, then the young man jumps up in the boat and hits the monster on the head, after which he says that another one is ready. Gru, watching this guy, realizes that he is absolutely sparkling and that he is like level 999. The girl also thinks that this is probably why everyone wants to be with ranks, because they are strong and cool. People understand that she also wants to grow up quickly, after which she heads towards the monster. And there he finds an artifact called a magic magnifying glass. It shows information about monsters, and it only activates if they're right in front of my son's nose. When the little girl does this, she sees that the monster they slayed is called a white-browed yeti. The items available for the bet are eyebrows, a magic stone, and his skill is a carcass strike. After which, the little girl activates a skill called Pull Out, and she gets hypersensitive eyebrows. The little one understands that she needs to mix it with a magnifying glass, and then she thinks that it will turn out to be a cool, magical item for a detective. But she also understands that it is difficult to put two properties into one object, just like with the duck. After all, when she made the duck, it turned out defective, and even with the bonus for beginners, it turned out badly. The little girl also understands that the magnifying glass might break. Well, if she improves her kneading and sculpting skills, everything will work out, so she needs to put the eyebrows aside for now. The guy looks around for a while and realizes that no one is coming out, even though he's spending almost no mana. But it's as if they are afraid of something, and the young man understands that he wanted the girl to gain a lot of experience. So maybe you need to go to the boss. But the problem is that someone has already found the boss's room. These people are fighting among themselves and Kidan is watching it. One of the group members says to open the doors quickly, because if they are careful, nothing will happen. But the girl screams at him to stop talking nonsense, to kill. Does he really think that she doesn't know that whoever the boss sees first, he'll eat? But from the very beginning, they wanted to use them as cannon fodder. Well, the man just pushes the lady away and asks what's wrong with Togo, after which he orders them to open the doors. Another lady turns to her with concern, and at the same moment, someone asks the little sister if she needs help. One of the group members wonders what kind of guy this is and how he managed to approach so quietly that no one even heard. The guy is currently using a face-censoring patch and has about an hour left before its effects wear off. Ki-don asks what about them and if they can help her. One of the group asks if they will really help and what kind of freaks these are again. The woman understands that this seems to be a suspicious person, but now is not the time to think about who he is. Their main thing is to survive. After which the lady says that it's good and they are accepted. The guy claims that it will be too late to back out later. After which the guy enters into a high place. Ki-don tells them to open the doors or he can open them himself. Well, one of the group says that this is not funny and suggests that he wait. However, at that very moment, the door opens itself and one of the participants asks why this happened. A monster appears from the door, and the leader of the group screams for everyone to hide back. Ki-don understands that not only the door opened, but also the boss came out, so it's all somehow suspicious. The man gives the teddy bear to one of the ladies and tells her to play the show with her sisters. He also tells his sister to take good care of the bear because he will be back soon, after which the guy removes the bandage. The girl is shocked and asks if this is really Ki-don. The guy needs to learn how to destroy this monster, and he understands that he usually attacks the one who is closest to him. However, now it seems he is going to attack not him, but Gru, and it is a shame that they do not want to fight him. After which the guy strikes, and the monster turns to him. The young man tells him to look at him and not at Gru. The monster is about to hit the guy, but he deftly dodges and then turns his dagger into a sword. This thing is called Vyata's Blazing Will, and it changes appearance at the user's will and is also bound to the user. After which the guy deftly jumps up and strikes the monster. One of the group members asks what to do now, and another suggests quickly catching this creature while it is focused on him. But another participant asks if they are really that stupid, because this guy is kind of strange and he wants to know if they felt his presence before he appeared and saw his face. One of them claims that since they are B rank but did not notice how he approached, this person is at least A rank. And then one of them asks what they should do. His interlocutor replies that he needs to be put into an eternal sleep to sing. If he and those girls leave there alive, then he will definitely complain about them to the management, and then they will 100% not get away with problems. Therefore, we need to attack him while he is busy with the boss. At this time, the guys see the core of this monster and are going to hit it. But at that very moment, someone appears behind him and is about to strike. However, when Ki-don turns around, the enemy recognizes him because now the guy is without a bandage. Ki-don immediately hits him in the stomach, causing the group member to fly away. The other guys are shocked and ask if it's Ki-don, and the guy activates the lion's breath skill. After which, the rest of the people realize that the mana began to quickly leak out, and when the monster almost touches Ki-don, then he just deftly turns around. One of the group members covers his head, afraid of being hit by the monster. Well, when he opens his eyes and looks up, he sees that Ki-don has already finished with him. The guy understands that this is the same C-rank hunter, Ki-don. At this time, they notice something strange and understand that the will of the Vyata is reacting to something. At this time, the main character turns to the huntress and says that if it's not too much trouble for her, then let her lower her to the ground. The woman agrees in response and wonders if this is really a doll, after which the girl stands up on her feet, but she realizes that her backside is burning again, and the little girl wonders if there are mosquitoes in the dungeon too. A strange passage opens up near them, from which hands are visible. After which a creature crawls out from there. The lady in horror says that it is a monster. The little girl realizes she's not afraid at all, and that's a little strange. Then she sees that the duck tongs, combined with the Mephisto shard, suppress her fear. Mephisto discovered the minion, and a hidden function was revealed. The red subordination detects the protection of the Ice Clan. The girl wonders if it says anything about a servant and subordination, after which she thinks what all this is, and at the same moment the monster turns to the ruler and also asks why he appeared in such a form. The little girl thinks how bad this monster is because he spoke to Gru using complex words. The little girl immediately throws her snowball at the monster and screams for the snowball to deal a crushing blow. Well, when this snowball hits a monster, a notification comes that an error has occurred because the survivors have too high defense and the effect is cancelled. Her interlocutor claims that this is very interesting, but is interested in how this little child is able to use the power of the master. At that moment, someone grabs the girl, and the main character realizes that it is Kidan. The girl also notices how hard his heart is beating, after which the guy jumps onto the building. He leaves the baby there and tells her to sit there and not go anywhere, after which the guy realizes that they have finally met and jumps from the building straight onto the monster. He says that the child smells of red liquid, and it is such a familiar aroma. He also says he's remembered now, and his red liquid smells like rotten fish. Kidan then activates a skill called Purple Bed, which triggers Berserker mode. Attack and speed increase by 200. The little one realizes that a strong wind has picked up there, after which she collapses. She touches her watch, which sends notifications that a blow has been detected, and the coordinates are sent to her guardian. Kidan, meanwhile, tries to resist the monster, and the latter, recognizing the ball, asks if the guy is happy with the weapon for which he asked his father. At that moment, the young man furiously jumps on the monster and screams that he will plunge him into eternal sleep. Well, he says he can easily defeat him. However, when the monster looks at the guy's hands, he realizes he doesn't have a sword. At that very moment, a dagger flies at him from behind, and Kidan insists that he too didn't waste any time. He then activates the purple stream and lion's breath. When the guy finally jumps away from the cloud of smoke, he wonders if he succeeded. Well, the monster turns to the human uncle and claims that nothing has changed since their second meeting. After all, he remained just as weak and helpless. The young man realized he couldn't escape anymore and rose again, preparing to attack. But at that very moment, someone struck him in the neck. It turns out that Ju Rim is asking who allowed them to wander around wherever they wanted without adults. After which, he also looks at the place where the baby is sitting, and the girl notices that their eyes met. She also doesn't understand why the guild leader is there looking at his smartwatch. At this time, the rift in the dungeon closes, and the man realizes that Malikian has escaped. Ju Rim says he always escapes quickly. But at that very moment, Kidan screams for them to let him go. The guild leader insists he can't handle it alone, so he should come to his senses. But the guy only screams that he will plunge Malikan into eternal sleep. After this, Ju Rim only sighs and puts his hand on Kidan's shoulder, after which he completely switches off. The main character understands that the guild leader is the coolest, so she needs to run. But when the baby turns around, she bumps into someone's shoe, and when she looks up, who sees the head of gay people who strictly address her. He also asks if she went home with Yoon and wonders if this place is her home. The girl at the same moment wonders if the head of the guild is angry. And then he turns to the little girl again and asks if she knows that she can't do something like that without warning him. The little girl replies that this is so good, but when she wants to say something else, she apologizes again. The man asks if she has any pain anywhere, and when the girl answers that she doesn't, he asks if she's hiding it because afraid that he will scold. The little girl replies that she really doesn't feel any pain and stretches out her hands to Ju Rim. Then he asks her for a hug. He and the man sigh and then pick up the girl. Well, the main character wonders where Kidan is and whether he is hurt. The man simply remains silent in response and claims that his heart hurts. A little while later, the little girl takes one of the books and realizes that Kidan has changed after seeing Mulligan. It seems that this monster has some kind of strange skill, and then the little girl starts looking for it in a book. When the girl leafs through the book, she notices a separate page and reads that an accident occurred in a residential building in Chumuncheon. One dead man, 40 years old, was identified, and he also had a son, a high school student, who managed to survive. The girl understands that Kidan probably wanted to plunge the monster into eternal sleep in order to avenge his family. But Malikan didn't even flinch from his attacks, and it seems that his defense is very strong. The girl also wonders if Kadan's attacks will work on him if the monster's defense weakens. The little one also takes out her weapon, but she receives a notification that she has fulfilled the conditions for unlocking upgrades. And now she can enhance items with care points. The little girl thinks about this and wonders if the duck will be able to stop being forged, because if so, then it will be possible to impose a debuff on Malikan. After which, the little girl asks to strengthen the duck, and she receives a notification that the strengthening was successful, and the status has changed to suitable for use. The main character wonders why. After the marriage status, the status suitable for Anna changed to ordinary. She also discovers a hidden function. After all, the user's attacks can sometimes deactivate the target's resistance to effects, and the baby understands that a debuff can now be applied. Well, she's even interested in how much longer he can resist her addition, and she wants to see his surprised face. Someday she will show everyone her great strength, and here is why she should not be underestimated. At the same moment, the girl hears a ringtone from her watch and realizes that the phone is ringing. When she puts on her watch, she receives a call and someone asks if Han Gru is home. It turns out that he is Zurim, and the little girl replies that yes, after which the man states that the aunt will return late today, and if anything is needed, then the little girl should tell him. The girl then turns to the head and asks how Kadan is doing and if everything is okay with him, to which the man replies that it's probably not bad. Gru asks if he says it's not bad, but wonders why. The man replies that he is behaving like Ju Rim, and the little girl thinks what this means. She also wonders if Kadan is in danger right now. Kadan is sitting tied up at this time. The head of the first combat squad, named Kim Jong-won, wonders if the guy really tried to put Mulligan into eternal sleep on his own. In a battle with a C-rank monster, the minimum number of participants is 1 C-rank and 10 A-ranks. And fighting Maliskin alone is like wanting to say goodbye to life. The man claims that he knows what the guy feels and understands him perfectly. But how can he look the rest of the team members in the eyes if such nonsense is happening to their leader? After which, he also asks when Kadan will learn to trust his team, because he understands that the guy admires the guild leader who passed the tower alone. Well, he is not the head of the guild after all, and even when he climbed the tower, he was with the team. Hyunok is a guild that consists of the best hunters in Korea, and the first squad is the elite of the elite, with a C-rank monster together, but only if he can accept their help. The boy remains silent in response, after which his interlocutor sighs. Kadan hears voices in his head, asking if he thinks he can handle this alone. He also recalls the monster's words about him smelling strongly of rotten fish, a familiar aroma, as his glorious lands smelled just like it. The young man wonders if he's the only one who'll smell it, after which he even thinks where this monster is hiding, and when the guy looks at his hand, who sees the red mark on her? The young man realizes that, if you think about it, before the monster appeared, the Yeti boss was looking only at Gru and not at him, some kind of powerful being inside the girl, and as if Malikan himself is there, and he opened a portal using the baby. At this time, he again begins to hear the voice of the monster, saying that he is the last of the Vyata tribe, and he must take his sword. And the guy also had unfinished business with him, after which the young man began to smile. His colleague wonders if Kadan has gone completely crazy, and maybe he needs to go to the hospital. The guy then apologizes to his interlocutor, but asks if the boss is in the office. The man replies that the director has summoned him. He's at the office, but will be back soon. Kadan says he can't forgive himself. The boy understands that Mulligan isn't showing up because he's afraid of the guild leader, and he doesn't take him seriously. Even now, when the boy has reached rank C, Kadan turns to Mulligan and tells him to open a portal in his land. If he wants to return his sword to the top, let him do it. After which, a large portal opens behind the guy, and his colleague turns to Kadan in shock. The monster at this time greets the human child and takes up the weapon, and also states that it is time to take the sword from the one who is unworthy of it. A multitude of swords begin to fly near Kadan. The young man dodges them all, then remembers his past. Someone told him that if you look at it like that, the pool looks pretty good. The man claimed that this was the dream of the boy's mother, and although he looks modest, he is quite handsome. A house with a swimming pool was my mother's dream, so my father spent all his money to buy just such a house in the wilderness of Gangneung. The pool, lined with gray brick tiles, was neither modest nor beautiful. In his eyes, it was rather a hideous structure that constantly reminded him of his mother. But looking into the eyes of his dad, who kept telling him about his mother's dream, he was unable to say these words out loud. The man offered his son to clean up and play ball, but he claimed he didn't have the strength. His interlocutor claimed that sport gives strength, and someone who plays baseball should not talk like that. After which he claimed that a powerful strike occurs when the bases are loaded, and he threw the ball, saying that if he misses, they are finished and they will lose completely. The young man immediately ran after the ball and shouted that they couldn't lose in the last minutes, after which the man only smiled. The young man understands that he liked to smile and ride, and the pool was a place for them, where mom's dreams, dad's regrets, and their shared memories merged together. But this was only until day one. One day, a monster emerged from a portal and attacked Kidan's father. The boy watched in horror, and the man told the young man to run quickly. The monster then looked at the young man, and his father only shouted that he had 2 outs, so let Kidan run to third base. He also shouted for him to move forward, and that day, the guy did not even dare to turn around, fearing that the monster would chase him. The only thing he had was a strong body and stamina, trained by playing baseball, and in the end, he ran away, abandoning his father, and also having successfully homesteeled. Meanwhile, the little girl is lying on the couch and reading about the awakened one named Kidan. It says that the former champions of the youth tournament, who are Koreans from Gangneung, have reunited again. The main character also looks at the photo of these two and remembers how the guild leader said that the guy acts like Onju Rim. That is, he acts as if he is capable of handling everything on his own, and Keaton wants to do something impossible on his own. Although he's not Onju Rim at all and will never be, the main character thinks he wants to do this alone, after which the lady opens the list of guardians and realizes that this guy is probably very lonely. But at the same moment, a notification pops up that a threat has been detected, because the guardian is in danger. The young man is shocked and wonders if Kidan is in danger now. At this time, the guy is in a dungeon and fighting a monster. He states what a weakling the young man is and delivers another blow, causing him to fall. The guy realizes that he overestimated his strength and is already starting to close his eyes. Well, the young man also understands that he did well and didn't run away like an idiot this time. Kidan understands that he really tried hard and does not regret at all that he will plunge into eternal sleep like this. But at that very moment, he hears someone screaming as the cherry blossoms break and the young man opens his eyes, who sees a bear falling on him from an open portal. The guy immediately grabs her and hugs her, after which the two fall. The main character immediately pours syrup on him, and the guy, breathing heavily, understands that he needs to get away from there, as far away as possible from Malikian. After which he activates the lion's breath skill, and the ship begins to collapse, and Kidan hides with the baby. When they are in hiding, the guy turns to the lady and screams how she is, and whether she is injured. The young man also wonders what she is doing there, and how Whitney got there. Is she really that stupid? She replies that she is not stupid, but her interlocutor cries out, "Why did she come then?" The girl screams that Gru and Kidan are one team, which surprises the guy. The girl repeats once again that they are one team, so she wanted to help many of her interlocutors and suggests not to say stupid things, but how she can help. The main character replies that she is strong, but not alone, and Kidan is not the head of the guild. The chief said that it was reckless to go alone, and reckless means stupid. The young man understands that it was not stupid, because he managed and did not run away like them, but fought alone. Well, now the guy is waiting for him to know, and so on, and wonders why. However, before she can finish her sentence, she sees that Kidan is genuinely sorry. She also says that they can defeat the monster if they work together. After all, baseball is also played together as a team. The girl suggests they spend time together today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and every day. After all, she wants to play with him every day. The little girl also asks if Kidan really doesn't want it, after which the guy can't hold back his tears. He replies that he wants to play together today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, as well as every day. The girl nods with a smile on her face. Keaton then slaps himself across the cheeks. He understands that he needs to admit that his actions were not revenge, but rather a farewell to life. And now is the moment when we need to protect her, even if we have to plunge into eternal sleep. The man wonders how long it will take Onju Rim to arrive, and whether he will be able to protect the girl until then. The little girl starts shaking things out of her bag and claims that she brought something that can help. The man looked at all this and thought how this could help. But the little girl takes out another thing and claims that there is also this. Within the territory of the Ice Clan, the defense of targets is reduced to -50, and the owner's defense is increased by 100. There is also a red subordination statistic that deactivates the Ice Clan's defense. There is also an absolute command ability and an attack with a certain chance that the user's attack will ignore the target's resistance to effects. The team before Togo is surprised and wonders if the Ice Clan's protection is really activated there and if it will really completely ignore the protection, to which the little girl replies that it will. The girl also asks with a smirk on her face if she was able to help, to which the man replies that she is a good girl, but he still won't be able to use this item because it is tied to the user. Well, she won't have enough strength to break through Malikian's resistance because she needs to get close enough to hit. The chance of activating red submission is very low and is approximately 8%. The little girl asks what it is, and her interlocutor replies that out of 100%, 92 will fail and only 8 will succeed. The girl repeats this again, and at that very moment, they hear some kind of rumble. The guy understands that the monster is looking for them, and he uses space distortion to buy time. But it's only a matter of time, so they need to decide what to do quickly. Meanwhile, the monster is slowly blowing up the ship. He turns to the human child and asks if he is now afraid of plunging into eternal sleep, forgetting about redemption. And now he is hiding somewhere shaking in fear. So what kind of pathetic sight is this? At the same moment, the monster hears someone jumping behind him and wonders if he has come to say goodbye. Malikian. The guy wonders where his father's last gift is, but only activates his skills and then points the blade at the monster. He understands that the goal is a home run and then takes off. But when the monster is about to attack the guy, he jumps up and ends up behind him. The young man crosses his blades with the monster, who claims that the boy has become much faster. Malikian. He claims that this is amazing because the child, who exudes the smell of rotten fish, surprisingly moves with astonishing speed and dexterity. But this is a talent of a frightening level. Well, his technique still remains superficial. So the master says what a fool the young man is, viates greatness, but everything is futile. He then prepares to strike again, but the boy dodges. After which, the monster directs another attack and claims that the speed of movement that no one can repeat, and with the destructive power of the Sword of Viata, he seems invincible. After this, Kadan only smirks and turns away from the attack, which makes the monster surprised and wonders how he did it. A little while later, someone was interviewed. This man claimed that Kadan's mind had only 2 core skills. He awakened less than a year ago and has little experience, but he has surpassed all the best hunters in Korea. In just a few months, he broke into the top 5 thanks to his amazing stats and ability scores, and also an innate combat sense. And in addition, he has a monstrously enhancing buff called the Berserk skill. So Kadan is the undisputed ace, or the guild that is number 1. At this time, the guy deals a few more blows to the monster, and the latter asks how dare he do such a thing. But at the same moment, head-on Malikiana flies in with a snowball, and so when the red subjugation is activated, as well as resistance to debuffs. When the monster looks up, he sees the main character and asks if this is all the guy expected. The monster also says how funny it is, because even though this child has the power of a ruler, but what of it? It's like putting a pearl necklace on a pig, and it's a shame that his last hope has just collapsed. The monster swings his arm and claims that Viot's will soon be his. However, at the same moment, the main character starts throwing snowballs at the monster, and resistance to debuffs is again applied to it. And the monster thinks that this can't be true. The main character understands that if there is a chance to hit a small target, she needs to give up until she succeeds. After which, the monster is again given resistance to debuffs. Malikian understands that he can't allow himself to be hit any more times, so he needs to leave. But Kidden, standing in front of him, asks where he's going. At this time, the girl throws another duck, and the red subordination skill is activated. After which, the master begins to see his master, and a message comes that the master's intrusion has been detected, and that the servant's protection has fallen asleep at the master's will. The monster is shocked, realizes that the states can't exist, and screams so that no one will look at him. Kidon at this time swings his sword and attacks the monster, after which he strikes him. Kidon also turns to Malikian and asks if he still smells like rotten fish, but the monster screams that this can't be because some pathetic child really managed to defeat him. At the same moment, a message comes from the system that the achievement is unlocked and they have defeated the last descendant of the Vyata clan. And the Empire is given knowledge of the 12 styles of sword fighting by Vyata. The boy then dispels his weapon and reflects on how difficult it was. When he approaches the baby, he sees that she has fallen asleep due to the loss of mana. He then picks her up and insists that she needs to be taken home. Well, then the guy himself almost closes his eyes, but sees the head of the guild in front of him. After which, with a smile on his face, he realizes that he is really flying and falls to the floor unconscious. After which, a message comes from the system that they masterfully overcame a danger whose level is much higher than theirs, and the achievement Victorious Home was received, ran and also goes to the deposit account. Kidon entered the top 3 of the rating. They are finished. Teddy Bear entered the top 1,000 rating. A little while later, a post appears on the Hunter's internet saying that they believed in Kidon because the guy made it into the top 3. When these two find themselves at home, they are already standing in an apology position. The guild leader glares at them. He turns to Kidon and tells him he'll be working temporarily with the PR team, which surprises him. The young man understands that they are really mean now, and they could accidentally come to him. When he makes sad sounds, the guild leader asks if he has anything to say, to which the guy replies that no one is interested in whether it's too much, because it will still be hard for him there. The main character wonders if it will really be that difficult for Kidon, but Anzu Rim coldly tells him to try harder, because if he finds it cute, then he will think about punishment. After this, the young man screams for Anzu Rim to beat him up because he doesn't want to be on the PR team. The little girl immediately screams for the guild leader to beat her better. But at that very moment, the guy covers her mouth. Heiju Rim sternly addresses Kidon and tells him to watch his language around Gru, to which he agrees. The man also says that the girls are not allowed to watch TV for a week, and the little girl immediately makes a sad face. But the head of the guild just turns away and says that it's still not the case. He also turns to Kidon and says that he understands. But at that very moment, the guy falls to the floor, and the main character screams in shock. Did Kidon really even plunge into eternal sleep to avoid joining the PR team? Heiju Rim replies that he simply fell asleep due to accumulated fatigue and the medication he took. A little while later, he is already being taken to the hospital, and the little girl, looking out the window, asks if he is really leaving in a car that is making siren sounds. A while back, a shelter worker said he understood that such information couldn't be disclosed. But Gru had already returned to the shelter once after being adopted. She was taken in by another family, with whom she lived for about 3 months. He said that phrase earlier, and it wasn't easy, because if he spoke about it, some people might think she had some kind of flaw. This is not true at all. And why should a child suffer because of such stupidity? After which the man asks what happened. His interlocutor replies that everything was fine when the adoptive mother took her from the period, and Gru turned to her mother and was also obedient, because he even thought that she was able to find a new, wonderful home. But 3 months later, she was returned. The woman told the director she was very sorry about how things turned out, but he asked why they couldn't keep the girl. His interlocutor claimed that they would soon have a child, and she thought that it would be difficult for her to adapt. After all, they are still. They want Gru to find a family where she will be loved. Hee-ju-rim now understands why she said then that she could be returned to the shelter. The upbringing also argued that he probably had no right to say such a thing. But even if Gru immediately accepted him as a member of the family, let the head wait a little, because the baby just needed to get used to it. She is a smart and kind girl, as well as beautiful and sweet, and she has awakened only recently, so let him just give her time. The man tells the director that he understands and will try to take good care of her, so he has nothing to worry about. Now he looks at the baby, after which he strokes her head, and in response, she smiles. A little while later, they arrive at the hospital, and the girl greets Kadan. The guy asks if it is Gru and the boss, and how they ended up there. Hee-ju-rim replies that this is so that he does not do stupid things, and the man with a smile on his face states that he no longer has the strength to do any more stupid things. The guy also turns to the little girl and asks if she missed him, to which the girl replies that she missed him a little bit. Her interlocutor asks if she really wants to offend her older brother, after which the little girl smiles. But at this time, she also pays attention to the tablet and says that Kadan has the same shape. Anzu-rim claims that this is an international school called Justice, and this school is for talented students with magical abilities. The man also asks if anyone else has come, to which he replies that no, and that they are his first visitors, since Na Young and the first group will arrive after work. The girl asks if it turns out that he is even now studying, to which the guy replies that yes, otherwise he might get expelled. After which he does cute things with the baby, and everyone in the study group, seeing this, immediately pays attention. They look at the screen and say how cute it is, and also ask if Kadan has a sister. The teacher claims that she understands that the children are happy to see Kadan, but nevertheless suggests returning to the lesson. Hee-ju-rim takes the baby and says that they will already go, so let him return to his studies. Well, then the guy tells them to wait a minute, after which he apologizes to the teacher and claims that he will be leaving for a short while on guild business. And this girl is not his sister, but the head's daughter, after which the woman asks in shock, "Is this guild leader's daughter and the others also in shock?" At this time, the main character thinks about the word daughter and thinks, what if the head doesn't like these words? At this time, the man notices that the girl is looking at him and asks what is going on, and the little girl understands that she is lucky, because apparently he is not angry. At this time, Kadan turns to the head and tells him to wait because he has a request, after which he asks what happened. The guy asks if he can take away Vyata's emptiness, because it just so happened that he broke Vyata's dream, and the man replies that it's fine, but now this weapon is under control. The guy asks why this is so, and whether it wasn't the Hunat Guild's prey. His interlocutor tells the guy to watch what he says, because no one should know that Gru participated in the battle with Mulligan's son. He also asks the guy if he noticed anything strange about this monster. Well, his interlocutor is interested in whether he didn't look strange from the very beginning. The man replies that rumor has it that a rat infested the office and released the monster. Kadan asks if that's possible, and if someone could have been moving a C-rank monster around freely. The film's interlocutor claims that there is only one place where this can be done, after which the two turn to the door and see a piece of light hair there. The guy who is behind the door opens it and asks for forgiveness, after which he states that he would like to talk to the hunter Kadan and asks if they would spare him a little time. The girl immediately turns joyfully to her uncle and greets him. The man says they've met the sweet princess again, but Kadan immediately pushes the girl away and asks if they know each other. His interlocutor replies that yes, they saw each other at the registration center. Jin also claims that he is a good person, after which he introduces himself and claims that he is the head of the investigation department of the Awakened Administration. Kadan wonders if this is the same Jin Shi-wan. Well, the man replies that everything is so. The head of the guild asks the reason for his visit, but he does not answer that he is conducting an investigation into the Malikian case and would like to ask Kadan a few questions, after which he asks if he knows anything about Gnosis. Kadan and the general's head tense up a bit, and the little girl wonders what it is. Kadan, in response to which, of course, they know about this, and are there any hunters who don't know about this? The man then smiles and says, "That's how it is." But when he tries to get his phone, he suddenly drops it. The head of the guild immediately grabs him from the shop, and the man thanks him. Kidan, looking at this guy, wonders if this could really be Jin Shi-won. He's a former intelligence agent from a ruined country who, immediately after arriving in Korea, he took second place in the hunter rankings, causing a stir in the hunting community. Rumors circulated for a long time about his activities before fleeing his home country. Hunter rating points are awarded for diving into the eternal sleep of monsters and in dungeons, and they can also be obtained for using skills. But their number for using the skill is small, so the main method of this is hunting monsters. However, there's another hidden method, plunging other hunters into eternal sleep. In this case, the hunter gains all the rating points of their prey. After the cataclysm of grief, Korea became one of the most powerful countries, and even the strongest hunter from other countries finds it difficult to survive in Korea. So how could this refugee, who is a former intelligence agent, have risen so quickly to second place in the rankings by hunting only monsters? Or maybe he really did earn points in another way, after which the man hands the lady a candy. Kidon understands that this guy is no longer participating in any raids, and his rating has dropped significantly. Jin states that they believe Malikian was mutated by the Gnosis infection, and asks if he has noticed anything unusual. His interlocutor replies that he is not sure because he does not know anything about Gnosis, and therefore cannot say whether there was anything unusual. The blonde asks if he saw anyone else in the dungeon, but at that moment, the guild leader addresses him by name, and he claims that he has already told him everything he knows about the raid on Malikian. So why is he bothering his subordinate with his questions? He knows that the guy is a minor, and he is his guardian, and he won't receive any new information anyway. The man then claims that he is simply following instructions, and apologizes if he disturbed them. The guild leader replies that he really did bother them, after which he apologizes again, and the main character asks her uncle who this Gnosis is and whether she is really bad. After this, Jin recalls Gnosis. A short time later, the woman approached Zhenya and insisted that she would give him a chance. If he wants to clear this place, he will have to spin her into eternal sleep. So let him pull the trigger. The guy looked at the woman with shaking hands, and she insisted that everything was merely the consequences of his own choices. At that very moment, the man heard a boy cry for help. The young man, with tears in his eyes, extended his hand to his uncle, but then he had no strength left. The woman whispered to the guy that this was far from the end, after which new explosions occurred there. Now the main character turns to her uncle, and he comes out of his thoughts, after which the guy claims that yes, this Gnosis is very bad, and Princess Gru also needs to be careful. After which he asks if she will listen to him. The girl nods in response. The man thinks how cute she is and is about to stroke the baby on the head. But at that very moment, he notices the cold looks of the other hunters and takes his hand back. The guild leader turns to Mr. Jin and explains that he came from Creus, the country that was destroyed by the monster invasion sent by Gnosis. Kidan wonders why he suddenly remembered this. The blonde replies that this is exactly how it is, and that is why he asked for asylum in their country. But the guild leader said they could leave it at that, and if he had any more questions, they should send them in writing to the Hunat Guild. Kidan needed rest, as he was seriously injured, after which Jin said, "Of course." He also approaches Mr. Kidan and says that if he does anything if he remembers, let him contact them, in response to which the guy agrees. Jin then bids farewell to the guild leader. Meanwhile, he also sees a notification that Onju Rim is considering where to hide his body after putting it into eternal slumber. And the Lord of the Icy Wastelands enjoys his body trembling with fear. Jin realizes that he accidentally read his mind and wonders if Onju Rim knows about his ability. The hunter's abilities are confidential information, but he had to reveal some of them when he sought asylum in Korea, and Onju Rim might have found out about it. The guy also realizes that, for some reason, there were 2 messages, and then he says that he will go, and the little girl waves goodbye to him. He also receives notifications that Han Gru is very sad about his so early departure, and that the Shard of the Overlord is watching him with interest. It also states that information about Han Gru is hidden behind an impenetrable veil. The boy realizes that the master is concealing his information using the object. He then summons Barrett. This creature forcibly opens the target's state window, expressing thoughts and feelings as indirect messages. The guy realizes that when he first met Gru at the Awakening Center, there was a massive magical failure, and that he really blocked the magic in the entire center to hide Gru's rank. He thought that it was beyond human power. But what if it was still possible? The guy understands that this is creepy, and it's better not to become an enemy of the guild leader, although he's not very friendly now. The man wonders what rank the girl has since he decided to do this, and whether she really has rank B. If awakening occurs at an early age, the rank is usually low, and most children cannot even reach rank D. But Gru also has this shard of the Overlord, so that doesn't happen. If her secret is revealed, she'll attract too much attention and become a target for dangerous people. The man understands that he cannot allow this, because she is such a sweet child. And he also really hopes that she will not encounter Gnosis, because, for Gnosis, talented children like her were the best test subjects. A short time later, the little girl was already heading off somewhere with the guild leader. Everyone around is asking if this is Anzu Rim, and why he came to the kindergarten. Last night, the girl said that she doesn't want to go to kindergarten anymore, and she wants to become a hunter. Well, the man asked why so suddenly, and whether she didn't like kindergarten, since she used to love going there. Gru, she replied that kindergarten is good, but she has a friend there who doesn't like her. The man realizes that everything is much more serious than he thought. The little girl says that when they play princess, she doesn't let her be a princess, and her interlocutor asks who she is forcing her to be and whether she is a servant. In response, the girl replies that she's forcing her to be a stable hand. The man immediately expresses his displeasure, after which she claimed that she could simply say that she also wants to be a princess, but the girl replies that it won't work, after which her interlocutor says, okay. And yet, the little girl says that once she made a super-duper spaceship of her own, and this girl broke it. Anju Rim insists that she did something very bad, and asks if the girl told the teacher about it. She replies that yes, and Haley later apologized, but she was still offended. The man then invites her to play with other children, and the girl replies that she wants to be friends with Haley. Her interlocutor asks why, and the little girl insists that Haley is very beautiful and looks like a princess, which is why everyone loves her. She always wears a beautiful dress, and her dad always picks her up himself. The man is shocked and thinks that this can't be done. And is there anyone more beautiful than Gru? And shouldn't a child want to be friends with her? The man says that the girl has a lot of dresses at home. Well, she replies that she doesn't want these, but beautiful ones. After which, the man thinks about it and says how difficult it is. The main character realizes she feels better now that she's spoken out. But what if she keeps bothering him with this? He flies and works at night, looking through a huge number of documents, and if he doesn't sleep, he won't have any strength left. The great hunter should not be capricious, so the little girl says that everything is fine, so let him not worry and go to bed. The man, watching the girl leave, doesn't even know what to answer. The next morning, the girl wakes up and comes into the guild leader's room, offering to go brush her teeth. But when she looks at the bed, she realizes that the guild leader is not there. When she runs into the living room, she also doesn't see him there and wonders if it's because she complained yesterday. The guild leader decided to abandon her because of this. And at that very moment, the little girl almost started crying. However, when she enters his office, she sees that the man has time and does not understand that he has fallen asleep while working. As the lady moves on, she steps on some paper and, picking it up, she sees that this is a doctor's book about the role of parents in raising preschool-aged children. It also describes the role of parents in a child's adaptation to kindergarten, as well as the main types of bullying in kindergarten and how to react when a child is bullied. The piece of paper says that parents' attention is very important for children, and the main character wonders if it's really that deep that people didn't sleep all night reading this book for her sake. Well, when the girl says these words, the man opens his eyes, and the girl wonders if she really woke him up. Hiju Rim wonders if she has already woken up, but the little girl says that the guild leader is still sleeping. The man replies that he doesn't plan to sleep anymore, after which he suggests going to wash up, since today he's taking her to kindergarten. The girl wonders if he will take her himself, and the next day, they find themselves near the kindergarten. Now the baby is heading out in the outfit that Na Young recommended. At this time, one of the teachers greets Onju Rim and then apologizes for being late. The man introduces himself and asks to take good care of Gru. He also says he'll pick her up after class. The main character asks what about his work, but he replies that it is much more important, after which the little girl nods. The man also whispers to his daughter that, in his opinion, Gru is the most beautiful princess in the world, and if she gets offended, she might get angry and even fight. But the little girl claims that it is not right to do bad things. But her father replies that she can do whatever she wants, and he will take care of the rest. After which the girl smiles and replies that yes, now she can handle anything. The little girl hugs the guild leader and declares that she loves him, after which he nods and hugs her back. Meanwhile, in the guild building, someone greets the others and claims his name is Park Gusun and that he came from the management department. The guy also stutters with excitement and states that he is starting a report, and the topic of discussion is resource extraction in dungeons. At this time, Hyeju Rim looks at his watch, and the other workers wonder if he is in a bad mood today and if something happened. The man understands that now is the time to pick up the girl from kindergarten. So why isn't she answering, and maybe he should have picked her up himself? The little girl insisted that after school, Anna would go home with her aunt, and he should rather work. The man hoped she hadn't been bullied today, and that the little girl had stopped being a stable hand. The one giving the presentation claims that they need to prepare for their next quarter, but he understands that the guild leader is so scary. At that very moment, the main character calls her father, and the guild leader immediately suggests taking a short break. He also says that someone should cheer up and calm down Pak Gusin, otherwise he will start crying and this could interfere with work. After which, they're all shocked and wondering what calm down means. Meanwhile, the little girl talks to the guild leader and insists the new phone is simply superb. The man asks if she's home yet, to which the little girl replies that she is, and that she had fun playing with Haley on the playground today. The guild leader asks if they made up, and the girl replies that Haley was simply afraid that Gru, now a hunter, would play with others and forget about her. Well, she apologized and said that now they were good friends again. The man replies that it's excellent. The little girl also claims that today at kindergarten she drew a chapter and plans to show it off. Well, when a man sees this drawing, who thinks, is this a person and why is he standing on 4 legs? The girl happily asks how her interlocutor is, and he replies that it was drawn quite neatly and very creatively, so let her give it to Sojay later, to which she agrees. The man understands that when Secretary Yoon shows photos of his children, he always smiles, although usually his face remains impassive, and now he understands why. He thinks even the coldest person couldn't resist such a petty thing, and he's ready to listen to her forever. Meanwhile, the little girl insists that today everyone was talking about what they did over the weekend. It turns out that her friend and others went to an amusement park, so she became jealous, and the man asks if she has never been to an amusement park. The girl replies, no, and asks what about the guild leader, and if he was there, whether he liked it there. The man understands that he didn't at all because it's noisy, dirty, boring, and always full of children. Well, now he's just asking the little girl if she wants to go. The girl asks what he's talking about, and the man replies that they're going to an amusement park. A short time later, they find themselves there, and the little girl cries out with delight. She says that this is the land of mechanical dinosaurs and then runs towards them. Hyeju Rim understands that everything is going well, and he had to cast several protective spells to keep from going crazy from this noise. But he thinks that it was worth it because the baby looks very happy. The girl sees the dinosaur hunter princess, and the man wonders what the hell is going on. Gru approaches the princess and asks to take a photo of them, to which he agrees. Then, the little girl rides the rides and watches various shows. A little while later, Onjurim asks the little girl if she wants anything to eat, but she replies that she's full. Then he asks where they should go, and the little girl points to one place and insists that's where she wants to go. The man asks where, after which the girl indicates she wants to go to the maze. Gru realizes she saw it on a blog about an amusement park. There was a question about whether it's tiring to play with hyperactive children, so they suggested parents send their restless children on a treasure hunt program. bookable in the service area. This program would allow parents to enjoy a break from their children, while their children could immerse themselves in a world of exciting entertainment. They say that the owner even donated his personal collection of toys, which he had collected throughout his life, so that children could play with them in the play area. But unfortunately, the program only runs for a month, so they strongly recommend not to miss the opportunity to visit it. The little girl understands that it is quite difficult for adults to play with children all day, so she thinks that this is a good opportunity to give the head of the guild a little rest, and she needs to take care of the parent too. After which they go there, and the park employee tells the dinosaurs participating in the treasure hunt to stand in line there. She also states that they need to collect 5 seals to get the treasure, and they are hidden everywhere, so let the dinosaurs be careful and look for them carefully. The man wonders if they really have to shove that word everywhere they can. Meanwhile, the main character watches the children and realizes there's a lot of competition. But everything is fine, because she's a C-rank hunter and has carefully prepared everything she needs for today. When the baby approaches with her father, the woman greets the child and asks how old she is. After all, only children aged 5 to 10 are allowed there, and the main character is shocked. She realizes she needs a lot of sleep to become 5 years old, even though she only remembers being 4. The man claims that she will be 5 years old this year, but her birthday is in winter, that's why she looks so small, and the woman says that's how it is. After which, he tells the cute, beautiful dinosaur to stand in line there. And the girl immediately happily heads to the line. The woman points to the waiting room and insists that his parents can wait there, so he should go there. The man, meanwhile, notices the awakening and wonders why they were assigned to guard this place. But then she realizes it doesn't matter, because the little girl will call him if anything happens. The woman tells the children that from now on, they have 15 minutes to search for treasure. Inside these capsules, there will be toys or notes, so they should look carefully. The little girl immediately answers that yes, and a little while later, she is already approaching the start of the competition, where one of the guys asks where to start, and the other suggests going to the ball maze first. The main character thinks how funny these kids are, and then takes a magnifying glass out of her backpack. She understands. According to information from the blog, real toys contain second-rate magic stones, so finding them will be easy. After which, the girl understands that she needs to look. And, looking stupid, she sees something sparkling. The baby wonders if this reward is really in the wall and never gets close to it. Notices that there is a glass wall there, after which the little girl is going to take the ball. But suddenly, someone steals it right out from under her hands, and it turns out to be another boy. The main character claims she found the ball, but the boy insists he grabbed it first. Gru screams that she found it first and she should take it, but the boy only raises his hand, wondering if she can reach it. The guy also asks her dryly if it's her fun, but she can't help it, as she's like a chickpea sprout. The main character is left with nothing, and the boy runs to the teacher, claiming he's found the treasure. The main character is shocked, wondering if he really just called her a raccoon sprout. But then she realizes she can find something else. She then takes something else out of her purse and realizes she wasn't planning on using it, but she'll have to anyway. Afterwards, the girl follows her son with a cart of toys and continues searching for treasure. She also looks at the 2 boys and thinks they should just wait, because she'll show them where the crayfish hibernate. The ladies also notice a bright light coming from one place, and then head there. One of the boys says she's going to the girls' restroom. The little girl thinks they're such idiots, and it serves them right. When the lady goes inside, she looks around and realizes there's no one there. The girl also realizes the light is coming from the toilet cistern, but wonders why the treasure was hidden in such a place. She realizes that to find the treasure, she needs to remove the watch. At that very moment, she notices that her watch is missing and wonders if she's lost it. The girl wonders where she left it, and at that very moment, she sees a pink dinosaur enter the room. At that very moment, someone grabs the little girl by the mouth and drags her into one of the stalls. It turns out it's a little boy, gesturing for the little girl to be quiet. The main character understands that of all the children she has met, he is the most handsome, but she has a feeling that she has already seen him before. At this point, The woman takes off her pink suit and asks what's going on there and whether the old man has arrived yet. She then says everything is fine because no one is around her. But when they tell her something else on the phone, the woman then asks if this man doesn't believe her and if she needs to steal the USB with Chairman Namjiwon's will for him. The little girl wonders if she's talking about theft, and she's heard about something similar on the radio several times. Someone he told everyone to be careful and, if possible, put valuables in their bags because there are a lot of pickpockets these days. The little girl also thinks that maybe this dinosaur hunter princess stole her watch. The woman then asks if this man is really coming now and then asks him to wait because she needs to go out first. And when she comes out, these two kids can finally breathe a sigh of relief. But when the boy is about to leave the stall, the girl tells him not to go yet because this woman could be standing outside. The young man replies that it's true, after which the little girl asks what happened. The boy says the dinosaur is a pickpocket, as she stole his pendant, so he went after her. But it turns out she's hiding other stolen items there as well. Kidon asks if he told the adults, and where his mom and dad are. Well, the boy asks why they should feel sorry for him. They clearly don't need him. They even left him at the amusement park because he was in their way, and neither dad nor that woman would listen to him. The main character wonders if he's talking about some woman. The boy insists he'll take care of it himself and find the pendant without them. The girl asks if the pendant was very expensive, to which the boy replies, "Not really. His mother simply gave it to him." The main character realizes that if she had a phone with her, she could ask the guild leader for help. But lately, she's only been taking her smartwatch with her. Well, then the girl understands that if the stolen items are in the next stall, then they can just take them. The girl also tells the handsome guy not to worry too much, because she'll help him. The young man asks if she really called him handsome, and then claims his name is So Woo-ju. He also says that she herself is beautiful, like a doll, to which the little girl smiles. The guy then asks if she is also from this industry, and when the girl looks at him in bewilderment, he thinks what it is. The young man asks if she doesn't even know this, and that means she's doing work similar to his. The girl wonders if he's also a hunter, and then it turns out she sensed his mana. Gru wonders if he's also from that industry, and the guy asks if she doesn't know who he is. The girl replies that she's new to the industry, and the guy says that's exactly what he thought. The little girl is a little offended by this, and wonders if she really looks like a snotty person. But then she realizes that it's okay, because now she'll show him her skills. "I'm from class." Then the girl takes something out of her backpack, and when the boy asks what it is, the little girl insists it's a grab-a-boo. With its help, they can get things out of the water tank. The guy then asks what kind of child it is and what she can actually do with this toy. The main character smiles in response and tells him to wait, and then he'll see for himself. After which, the main character launches this toy, and the young man, in shock, asks if it really flew. But at that very moment, someone grabs the toy. It turns out to be the woman, and she claims that's where the little cuties were hiding. The little one immediately gets scared, and the main character realizes that this woman sounds just like the dinosaur hunter princess. The woman tells the children to go there, and the girl realizes she'll find something useful before she gets there. Then, the little girl takes another toy out of her bag and realizes that anything will do. She throws a small chick that starts laughing loudly. The unique feature of this thing is that it automatically bursts into a terrifying laugh when it is in front of its detected target, and the target has a high chance of fainting for 10 seconds. The woman immediately falls, and the baby screams that they need to run. A short while later, they hide behind one of the statues and cross, wondering if she's emerged yet. The main character suggests leaving there and telling all the adults, but the young man asks who she is going to tell about this, because without proof, adults will not listen to some kids like them and would rather believe that disgusting woman. The little girl asks what he's talking about and insists that it's wrong to say such bad words. But the boy exclaims, "What an idiot she is!" "Such words can be said about bad people," the girl asks. "And is that true?" So Uju-hee claims he actually learned this while filming but he himself doesn't use it very often. The girl then asks if, since they're kids, no one will really believe them. So he replies that yes, And all adults are like that, without exception. Even if he says something, this woman will tell Dad that he lost the pendant on purpose to get his attention. The main character understands that he will most likely be very sad if he cannot find the pendant that his mother gave him. And probably, if she tells the guild leader that she lost the watch, he will also be angry. The little girl realizes she absolutely must return them, after which she has an idea and whispers something in So Woo-ju's ear. The boy, after listening to her, asks if she can really do it, and the little girl insists that he's seen what she's capable of before. The boy ponders this for a moment, and then insists that there's nothing to be done and they need to go. The protagonist offers him her hand and points to the place where they were supposed to meet. At that very moment, someone else turns to the raccoon sprout and asks why she's so late and if she was able to find anything. So Woo-ju asks who it is and if it's the villain, but the little one asks how he knew. The boy replies that his appearance gave him away, and his companion exclaims in shock, asking what he's talking about. The protagonist realizes that Woo-ju is judging people by their appearance. At the same moment, the boy with blonde hair is about to hit the young man, but he deftly dodges, after which he takes the girl by the hand and says that they need to go. His companion yells at him to wait, but the boy moves on, and then they see the woman running the quest. However, when the two get closer, they also see a woman with green hair. The woman running the quest addresses the little dinosaurs and tells them it's time to get ready, so they should line up over there. The main character wonders why she's standing next to this vile woman and what they should do. The little girl also looks around, wondering if there are any other adults there and whether she should ask the nearby grandmother for help. But at that very moment, the woman leading the quest asks the little dinosaur who's with him. At this time, the main character sees the green-haired lady's grin, which frightens her, and she understands that the first thing she needs to do is run. The young man immediately takes off his cap and, with a smile on his face, asks the teacher if he realizes they've managed to find a huge treasure in the restroom. The woman asks what he's talking about. At that very moment, one of the boys points out that this is So Woo-ju, the young man who played in the game called The King and the Shooting Star. The boy immediately replies that it's him, after which everyone asks for his autograph. The main character thinks that Woo-ju isn't a hunter, but an actor. Meanwhile, Ju-rim is looking at his phone. Andre is excited about the parenting community, but when he enters his name, he sees it's already taken. The man wonders why people register in this community under a different name, and when he tries to take the name of his company or the name of his friends, they all turn out to be taken. The man also thinks of a person's name he hasn't used yet and remembers Na Young. However, he understands that men shouldn't use women's names in the community, and that name is probably already registered. But at the same time, he's irritated by another message stating that the representative wants to have dinner together for this anniversary. Furthermore, the chairman is very interested in his adopted granddaughter and wants her to join the dinner as well. Ju-rim writes to him, asking him to repeat the sentence and whose granddaughter he's talking about. His interlocutor apologizes if this caused him discomfort and asserts that he won't write like that again. His interlocutor claims he can inform the chairman that this number was blocked by Ju-rim, after which he does just that and puts the phone aside. But at that very moment, the man notices the magical energy and realizes that he has already felt it twice. The first time, it belonged to Gru, but he doesn't understand who it belonged to the second time. There were no warnings of danger, and because of the sensory blocking patch, he can't tell if it occurred. Well, at that very moment, someone screams out that their Gyuhan suddenly stopped moving and asks what he means and whether he is talking about the blonde girl. At that moment, Ju-rim removes his stitching spell bandage and realizes he should go. While everyone's attention is focused on Seo Woo-ju, the woman says the dinosaurs should line up. The main character understands that as long as all these people are gathered there, they will not be able to do anything to them. But the chips and cart should quickly bring the stolen things from the toilet so that she can use them to bait the criminal. The woman leading the test turns to the dinosaurs and tells them to wait a minute because Woo-ju seemed to want to say something to the teacher, and she asks if he would like to go with the teacher to a more secluded and quiet place. But the young man asks where, To which the woman replies, "Anywhere," because he wanted to tell the teacher something. At that moment, the little girl screams for the boy to look quickly, because the treasure is already there. The two look at the little girl and think, what a terrible game this is. But when they turn in the direction the girl is pointing, they actually see treasure in the cart. The kids immediately scream, "What's that bloody mess?" and head towards it. But the woman with green hair screams for these little rascals not to touch it, after which she tries to catch these kids and get to the cart first. Well, as soon as these two touch the cart, a skill called hibiscus flower is activated. On anyone who dared to touch the owner's things without his consent was given a paralysis effect for 30 minutes. So Uju claims that it really worked. And the main character understands that it is, after all, a thief catcher created by the C-rank crafter hunter himself. The baby also turns to Uju and offers to go, but the boy tells her to be careful because someone is coming from behind her. At that moment, the man lifts the baby into his arms. A short time later, Onju-rim arrives. He realizes that Gru is gone, as is the employee who accompanied her. He then sees the girl's watch in the cart and picks it up. One of the park workers says that he cannot take things from there until they conduct an inspection. But the man at the same moment grabs his radio and, taking off his cap, says that this is Onju-rim from Hunak. He claims that a 4-year-old girl has recently gone missing, so they should immediately evacuate all visitors from there and establish complete control over all entrances and exits of the amusement park. From this moment on, no one will leave this place until the child is found. And if they do not follow the instructions, no, he will perform the operation himself. The man returns the radio and says that they can be sure of this because Hee-ju-rim is in front of them. However, when the guy wants to say something else, the elderly woman tells him to do as this guy wants to see this child actually fulfill his promise. The woman also addresses Onju-rim and insists that he hasn't changed at all. He apologizes, but claims he has no time for formalities now. The president replies that, yes, she understands the situation, so they can postpone it until later. Then, they announce over the radio that communications will be temporarily blocked for security checks, so they ask visitors to be understanding. They are currently searching for Han Gru and, consequently, a 4-year-old girl of mixed ethnicity with blonde hair. Meanwhile, the man jumps onto the Ferris wheel and realizes that all visitors to the Labyrinth Palace have been evacuated. But he doesn't sense Gru's presence in the exhibition hall, so he's confused about where the baby has gone. The girl, meanwhile, is in the room with Seo Woo-ju, and she's crying out for the guild leader in fear. At this point, the man realizes someone has used teleportation, and judging by the amount of mana used, the range covers the entire amusement park. Then, Onju-rim uses his power, and someone says that the exits and entrances are blocked. And another person asks if it's true, and if something's broken somewhere. Someone else asks if they locked the doors properly. Then someone else wonders what they're going to do with this kid singing. Because of him, the whole plan went to hell. The man also hears someone talking about the guild leader and realizes what he's found. Red liquid is now leaking from his ears. The radio continues to repeat that they're looking for a girl named Han Gru, and if anyone has information about her whereabouts, they should come forward immediately. One of the men asks who this child is and why the entrance is blocked, because she really is Pedersen, but one of the employees asks if it is possible to teleport out of the park, to which he replies that he doesn't have enough mana because the territory is too large, and they haven't yet stolen the flash drive containing President Nam Ji-won's last will. The woman then asks what they should do with those children. The man replies that they might put them into eternal sleep if necessary. Seo Woo-ju asks the little girl if she still has the cool things she had, or at least anything she used before. But the girl replies no. It seems she dropped her bag during the kidnapping. The girl thinks that if she had a larger inventory, she would have put all the items in it. And if she had more mana, she would have. Currently, her inventory only contains a teddy bear and a bicycle. At this time, the guy asks if there is another way out, and the girl replies that she doesn't know yet. But at the same moment, someone knocks on the door and screams at them to shut up. Nighty understands that she is very scared, and thinks that she was not even afraid of a C-rank monster. So why then is she so scared in front of this person? Maybe it's because of Malakin's words. After all, he was asking why the Lord had appeared in this form. Well, the little girl also understands that Uju is far more terrifying than she, a hunter, and she must pull herself together and protect him. The main character turns to the handsome Uju and claims that everything is fine, because it really was a secret. But she will share it with him because she can run fast, and she is also very good at hide and seek. So let him just trust her, because they need to escape as quickly as possible. The boy agrees in response, and the main character realizes that she just felt something huge approaching, and that the earth was shaking. At the same moment, someone opens the door to the booth, but when the main character raises her eyes, she sees the head of the guild. The man simply covers his ears and understands that, thank God, the girl is okay. He, Ju-rim, insists that he will never agree to such a thing again, so she shouldn't try to persuade him to do something like that again. The little girl immediately agrees, and a little while later, Ju-rim and the two children are sitting on the couch. People around them notice them, and one of the ladies writes, "Another state, that's really cool, because Ju-rim himself has come there." Another one writes that actor Seo Woo-ju is also there, with a lovely little girl between them. The main character realizes that now she understands why the quest required finding the primary guardian and his many deputies. When there are adults around to care for and protect her, it feels so calm. Meanwhile, So Woo-ju turns to the little girl and asks if Hunter Ju-rim is her guardian. The girl replies that yes, and that she did in fact live there until the guild leader adopted her. The boy asks if this is true, and the little girl asks when Uju's guardian will arrive, to which the young man replies that he doesn't know and doesn't want to know. Well, at that very moment, someone else bursts into the room and looks menacingly at the boy, screaming at him. The woman asks how she will look his father in the eye after his outrageous behavior, and the boy is always up to something. But the young man asks his aunt what business it is of his. He also tells the woman to give him her phone, after which he hands over the baby's phone and tells her to write down her number and agrees to something. So Uju-hae claims he's in her debt today. But now that he has her number, he'll definitely repay the favor. The main character replies that everything is fine and there's no need. However, the young man says what a fool the lady is and insists that he wants it himself and is not doing it because of her, so there is no need to refuse. The little girl says that Uju is so good and handsome, and the young man indignantly says that she called him handsome again, after which he turns to his aunt and says that now they can go. The young man also turns to the little girl and says goodbye to her, calling her beautiful and saying they'll see each other later. He, Ju-rim, shocked, asks if he really called her beautiful, and the little girl also says goodbye to him. The head of the guild wonders if these two not only met today, but the boy has already started calling his daughter a beauty. And if all young people are like this these days. Uju is generally a handsome and polite boy, but he didn't like his mother's behavior. He can already imagine the woman screaming for the little girl to take proper care of her little son. He also imagines the hard life and conflict between his mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, and then thinks it's simply awful. Looking at the guild leader's expression, the main character wonders if he really needs to go to the bathroom. A short time later, an elderly lady enters the room and addresses Ju-rim. The protagonist notices the woman and realizes she's the same grandmother they saw earlier. The woman addresses the baby and says that her name must be Gru. The woman also claims to be Namjiwon's grandmother and the owner of the amusement park. The little girl is shocked, wondering if this is the owner of a land of mechanical dinosaurs and fairies, after which she greets her grandmother a little sheepishly. The woman, smiling, insists that she's the one who caught the pickpockets and that she helped her a lot, so she's grateful. The little girl replies that it wasn't her, because she's the guild leader, and Uju also helped us a lot. Jiwon. She claims that this guy was just intimidating everyone, but that it was Gru who really helped her. The criminals who stole her watch were actually hunting her. The woman realizes that in order to catch them, she deliberately made up the story of carrying her USB flash drive with her will. After which, she suggests stopping difficult conversations altogether and states that as a sign of gratitude, she would like to give the little girl a gift, after which she whispers that the girl can open it at home when she's alone. Hee-ju-rim might be jealous, so let the contents remain a secret. The little girl replies yes and thanks her. The woman then turns to Onju-rim and says she wants to talk to him now. A short time later, the woman claims she heard he'd adopted a child, but never imagined the girl would be so smart and sweet, so he's incredibly lucky. The man replies that he also believes that luck is clearly on his side. His interlocutor asserts that he has no shortage of modesty. Grandma tells Onju-rim that his father is in perfect health and that she learned about the adoption from him. He's so eager to see his granddaughter that he can't stand it. The man replies that this is the last thing he wanted to hear, but thanks her for passing it on. The woman says, "What a jerk this guy is. He understands that his manners are still the same." The guild leader says that Mrs. Nam, the chairman, once remarked that his face looked as if he was destined to be a boor from birth, and the woman insists that she meant that he lives up to his appearance, which is, in fact, the absolute truth. Nam Ji-won understands that soon after Onju-rim's birth, his mother died in an accident, and Chairman On made a lot of efforts to ensure that no one even thought of saying that the child was growing up a street child due to a lack of maternal love. The woman also thinks how something like this could happen to such a loving, happy family, after which she says that whether Onju-rim wants it or not, the family is what will stay with him, so he shouldn't so persistently reject the resources that are already in his hands. Now he has more responsibility too, and maybe he should have a proper talk with his father, she's sure of it. However, the man interrupts the chairwoman and says that since she's finished, they should probably go because Gru needs to rest too. He also says that if they continue talking about this, then he might say something too much. The women claim that back in school, he so sweetly called him Auntie, but now he so coldly calls him Ms. Chairman. She also says what a heartless boy he is, after which the woman says, "Okay, they'll see each other again some other time when they have the chance." The main character replies that yes, and she'll definitely help next time too. The woman says, "What a lovely girl this is, and she's simply a sight for sore eyes." He pulls his daughter closer to him and tells her he knows, after which they leave. The chairwoman realizes this guy is the most insensitive and distant child in the family. He has hardly changed, and now he truly values his daughter, which is why the chairman is so restless with curiosity. At this point, the main character thinks about the guild leader's father and realizes that a guild leader must have a family, but she's never heard of one or met any of his family, so she never even considered whether she even had one. The girl also understands that she is interested in what the guild leader's father is like and whether he really looks like the leader. The little girl thinks that he is probably already a grandfather, so he most likely has a mustache, and then she thinks that she is a little jealous. The little girl realizes that she is curious about what it would be like to have a real family, and she doesn't even know if she will be able to find her biological mom and dad. Lydia turns to the park and understands that if she can earn more, and if she has enough money so that her mom and dad want to live with her, then they can be reunited again. Mom and dad most likely won't be able to live in the guild leader's house with Gru, but then the little girl understands that she will earn just enough to buy a house for the family. The girl also understands that there were ads on the onion market looking for people, and when she gets rich, she will seriously take up the search for them and will definitely find her mom and dad on her own. A little while later, the girl is already in her room and fills the bottles with artifacts, after which she uses her kneading and sculpting ability. Then, the girl realizes that she has succeeded and understands that there is no longer that Gru who puffed over a single bottle, because her skill has grown by as much as 2 ranks, and now she can produce anything in bulk. And now she can also make Brang's restorative potions. The girl holds one in her hands and realizes it heals wounds and restores stamina. Higher-ranked hunters mostly buy B-rank potions, so she will earn a lot of money. The resulting C-rank potion at Hunter Market. The girl examines one of the potions and reads that it's excellent mahama, and also realizes that it has a strange word added at the beginning, mahama. But that's okay. A short time later, the little girl receives a notification on her phone stating that the client's information is completely encrypted, and the agency does not have access to her personal data. She also received notifications that auction registration was closing soon and was asked to complete her item registration by October 30th. And the final message stated that the proceeds from the sale of the superior syrup, 10 million won, had been credited. The main character is spinning around and realizes that she has money, and it's not just onion coins, but real money. The girl understands that she will earn her own pocket money, and she thinks how good it is that the head of the guild opened a mobile phone account for her, even if it is not in her name yet. The girl realizes this is wonderful, and it's time to evolve, because she'll create something new. A little while later, the little one gets to work and realizes this is the day she's been waiting for. She recently learned that, unlike ordinary objects from which nothing can be extracted, star candy can be extracted from duck tongs. If she manages to extract the core from the duck tongs dungeon again, she might be able to create 2 pairs of them. The girl also understands that until now, she has suffered continuous failures due to a low level of skill proficiency. But today, everything will be different, and she improves the skill with care points. After which, the rank of the pole skill changes, and the girl takes out an item from the chips. Well, when she looks at her hands, she realizes they're not star candies and wonders what they are. The little one realizes the information about the item is displayed strangely and that it could be a 5th defective item. But then she realizes it's okay because she'll keep trying until she gets it right. Well, when the girl does this again, the skill does not work, and a notification appears that the item may be destroyed upon a 2nd attempt. And the little girl thinks that this is not the case. She also wonders if this egg is really all that could be extracted. She's a little disappointed, though. The kindergartners told them about eggs. The teacher said that chicks grow well if their mother warms them, and then the baby blows warm air onto her hands and then begins to warm the egg. She also says that Gru's mother will raise him with all her love. The girl understands that there is no information for sure, so she doesn't know what will appear, but since she resembles a chicken egg, maybe a cute chick will hatch from it. The girl already imagines this and understands that it would be nice. But at the same moment, she notices a box with a gift from her grandmother. The little girl realizes it's a gift from Chairman Nam, and she's determined to see what's inside. When she opens the box, she sees a magic stone. The woman wrote a note that it was a magic stone that fell from the first C-class monster during the Great Cataclysm 10 years ago. If she puts it up for auction, which will open soon, she can get a good amount for it. And since she will be putting it up for auction, she can also look at the auction itself and, if she wants, let her invite Anju Rim to go together. The little girl thinks about the auction and realizes that a message has arrived asking her to register an item for auction. The girl also thinks how much she can get for it, and maybe it is worth a fortune. And what if it costs 20 million won? Then, if you add up the money your son has saved, it should be enough to find his mom and dad, and there will still be some left over. The lady realizes she needs to contact the auction house first, and a short time later, she approaches her father. The protagonist also considers asking the guild leader to accompany her to the auction, but she also understands that the chairman said that the contents of the gift are a secret, so she doesn't even know where to start the conversation, after which the girl approaches him. And the man immediately takes the baby in his arms and also says that if he bites her, there will be big problems. But she is so soft, just like Mochi. He then squeezes the lady's cheeks, and the girl replies that she can't sing because if he bites her, it will hurt. The man asks if she knows what a bite feels like, after which the girl shakes her head. On Ju Rim, he replies that they'll find out if it hurts once he bites, after which the man opens his mouth. At that very moment, the baby jumps out of his arms and declares that she's protesting and down with the dictatorship. Anju Rim asks where she constantly learns these strange words, since she doesn't even know what they mean. But the girl only looks at her father, offended, after which he leans over and lies down on her. But at that very moment, the baby screams that she can't do that because her baby will get hurt. The man, shocked, asks her what she's talking about, after which the lady looks at the egg and says her heart is pounding. Her companion replies that his feels like it's about to jump out. The man points to the egg and asks what it is, and whether she really took it out of the refrigerator, but the girl replies that it is her baby. The machine thinks that maybe it's time to explain to her the well-known fact that an egg can't be a human child. Or maybe she should follow the advice from her mother's cafe and not limit a child's imagination. After which, the man is going to take this egg in his hand, but when he approaches it, he suddenly feels that a sudden pain has passed through his body, and he wonders if this is really a phantom pain. The man also wonders if he felt phantom pain through the gloves, which are unique Class C armor, and this simply cannot be, or one might say should not be. After which he understands that he needs to check again and tells Gru to wait a minute, but at the same moment, the baby's phone is gone and the girl hides the egg in her pocket and then picks up the phone. She greets her interlocutor with a serious face and also says that she is listening, after which the man wonders if she is really parodying him. The man on the other end of the line also greets the girl and claims it's Uju and asks if she didn't save his number. The main character replies that she did, as she responded to his messages yesterday, and the guy says, "Okay, if she saved it, that's good." The young man also claims he wanted to know how she was doing with her schedule, and the little girl claims she has 7 sketchbooks. So the young man replies that he's talking to me about drawing and the schedule and asks if she has a job. The main character understands that he probably means the job of a hunter, after which she replies that there is none, and the guy says that he knew it, after which he offers to come to his filming the day after tomorrow because it is important for newcomers to go everywhere and meet new people. At first, he was dragged everywhere too, and once she made connections, everything would go swimmingly. But the little girl wondered what kind of nonsense he was talking about. At that very moment, the boy's driver insisted they had arrived at the rental site, and he replied that it was fine. The young man claims he'll send the location in the chat, so she should definitely come, to which the girl replies that she understands. Afterward, she receives a message with the location women, and the girl wonders why this is a studio and not a dungeon or a training ground. Hee-Ju-rim watches his daughter and then asks if this is the child from the amusement park who called her beautiful, to which the girl replies that yes. The man understands that this boy is only 5 or 6 years old, but he already smiles so sweetly and calls the girl beautiful, clearly wanting to hit on her and then fool her and break her heart. Hee-Ju-rim asks if Gru really likes this boy so much, and the girl replies that he's fun to be around and smarter than her friends from kindergarten. And yet, the man says his relatives are a bit problematic, after which he also reaches for the girl's pocket and again feels a distinct phantom pain penetrating through the gloves, and he realizes that it was not an illusion after all. Hee-Ju-rim understands that if the gloves stop functioning, his soul will be absorbed by the owner of the 99th floor. Such is the price of sealing a being who cannot be put into eternal slumber. The gloves were merely a temporary measure to delay that moment, and now that he thinks about it, he realizes his opinion was never taken into account in the first place, and whether he wanted to go to the tower, and who wanted to seal the owner of the 99th floor in his left hand. When the guy saw his colleagues lying lifeless on the floor, he cried out to the latter that they really needed to go back now because the two of them couldn't reach the 100th floor. However, his interlocutor merely addressed the boy, then smiled and patted him on the head, saying something else. Now the man understands that even the fact that they couldn't enter the 100th floor was a mistake. All of this was essentially dumped on him, and the guild leader wonders what Hyun said then. But at that very moment, he notices the little girl hugging his hand and wonders what she's doing. The girl replies that she shows concern for the head of the guild, and the man thinks about what other concern she is talking about, and it would be better if the girl stopped creating problems on the side. He also asks if she used the skill she talked about last time, to which the little girl replies that yes, it is the skill of caring. After which her interlocutor claims that this skill of caring will not hurt him because today he is a bit tired. Gru asks if he should be patted, to which he replies yes. After which they lie down on the couch. He, Ju-rim, realizes he doesn't know what the girl is doing. But it's a little strange because when he's near the child, the mana drain and fatigue disappear. After which he smiles all over and realizes that, after all, it's not so bad. 2 days later, the little one is already heading out in the car, making happy sounds. Ha-young asks the girl if it's tasty, to which she replies that it is. And the woman also claims that the little girl did say that she was going to the set today at the invitation of a friend. The main character replies yes and thanks the lady for coming with her. The woman replies that Gru had asked them, so of course she couldn't refuse. The others couldn't come because one had an interview and the other had school. The little girl understands that Na, young sister, is a good girl and she loves Gru very much. So it would be nice if Na Young could be registered as his guardian. Well, she's an A ranker, and registering as a guardian for someone of a lower rank than the one using the skill is impossible. People understand that registering with the skill is like proof of a close connection, even if they're not related. Well, she also understands that registration as a guardian is only possible for C rank. And the little girl wonders if there is a way to register her sister Na Young as a guardian. After which she wonders if her sister can become C rank. The woman replies that she heard that there were many such people among the first generation, and they say that this still happens in other countries, when the little girl asks if her sister can also become a C rank. But the woman is wondering if this can be done according to her wishes. If she accidentally succeeds, then yes, but who knows? After all, she never wanted to become so outstanding, so she doesn't know. The main character is shocked when she wonders if an obsession with level, rank, and rating isn't the main trait of hunters. After which, she looks at her interlocutor in surprise. The woman then smiles and claims that when she says this, everyone is surprised, but in everyday life, she never strived to become better. Before waking up, the parents were also worried and said that their child did not have any strong desires. After waking up, they probably thought it was her destiny, and that while A rank isn't the highest, it's still quite high. The woman ponders her destiny and realizes that it's probably true. But if you think about it that way, it's true. Her best friend also said something similar, and she claimed that the girl could open the door by simply pulling the door handle. But she had to knock with all her might to find out if it would open at all. But she only had to turn the handle, and it would swing open. The girl looked at her friend with a little surprise and wondered what this meant. But she, with a smirk on her face, insisted that it meant that she was jealous. And after that, the connection was completely lost. So the lady even wondered how she was doing now. A little while later, they arrived at the place and went inside. All the workers pay attention to the little girl, and the girl wonders why they are looking at her like that. After which, someone else runs up to the girl, and the main character joyfully greets the boy. The girl claims that she couldn't go alone, so she came with her little sister Na Young, and the little girl asks if there's anything wrong. After which the guy replies that everything is okay and greets the lady. The woman also greets him and thanks him for inviting her, as she had no idea their Gru had such a sweet friend. Paris then asks the little girl if this little sister is also in the industry, to which the girl replies that she is. The young man then turns to his sister and asks if she wants to say hello to the director too, but she asks why. The boy wonders what she's asking and how he could possibly not know. If she's in the industry, then greetings are the foundation of everything. And with people like that around, it's no wonder Gru doesn't have a job. Seo Woo-ju claims that director Hwang Wung-chul is very famous, and if you at least show up to him, it will be easier later. At this point, someone else approaches the lady and asks if she is, by any chance, a hunter named Shin Na-young. The woman replies yes and greets him, after which her interlocutor confirms that he didn't even expect to see her there and asks if she'd like to say hello to the director. He then also notices the main character and comments on how small her face is. The director approaches the crowd and identifies himself as Hwang Wung-chul. He also asks how the guild leader is doing and whether he saw him last time he came for the interview. The woman replies that he's still just as handsome and lazy as ever. The man, smiling, explains that the guild leader and hunter Na Young are members of other religions, and he doesn't understand why such handsome people, who belong in show business, choose the path of hunters. So Woo-ju watches this in bewilderment and asks how this is possible and whether she is really a hunter, after which the little girl replies that yes, and Na Young's sister is in 9th place in the ranking. The young man wonders what this means, but at that very moment, fans approach the lady and ask if she's already arrived and would like to leave an autograph. Meanwhile, someone in the dressing room asks why it's so noisy outside, and the stylist replies that they say a famous hunter named Na Young has arrived. The woman immediately gets up from her seat, and her makeup artist screams that the preparations are not finished yet. But the woman just runs away and thinks that this cannot be, because that is why she came there. After which, she comes out of the dressing room and sees the girl. And Na Young, seeing her from there, goes to the lady and grabs her hands, says how many years and how many winters they haven't seen each other. But she missed her so much. The girl remembers how they used to be friends, but then feels uneasy. She realizes that Shin Na Young and she had been friends since middle school, and the day she auditioned to become an idol trainee, she simply followed her and passed it too. They spent their school years and internship years together, so they had a very close relationship. The lady often worried about Na Young's problems, who treated everything indifferently. And one day, the girl said that the cool Na Young had again lost her athletic form, to which you replied that it was nothing to worry about, since she was wearing pants today. Her interlocutor asked if the lady was really going to do physical education in school trousers, and if that was allowed, so she should wait because she would borrow the uniform of someone from the neighboring class. Na Young thanked her friend. Afterward, they languished in anticipation of their debut in a small group. They were caught and scolded when they ate sweets secretly from the manager. And in the dorm, they laughed and chatted incessantly. When tears welled up from sudden worries about the future, they were each other's support. Sometimes they spent nights dreaming about the future. The woman suggested that when they debuted together, they wear heart-shaped sunglasses and go to a garosugil. And if they are found out, they will simply say that it was not them. After which her interlocutor said that, yes, and the blonde claimed that no matter what she proposed, the girl liked everything. Nayeon, she replied that she liked everything she offered. Her interlocutor asked how the girl would live without her. She replied that they could simply always be together. But a little while later, the girl, shocked, asked her friend if she'd really woken up, to which she replied that she had, and that they said she was an A rank. The blonde asked what about idol careers, their debuts, and their promises, after which she kept telling him that, as expected, the cool girl Na Young had achieved success, and then she congratulated her. The woman understood that her friend had a high rank, good looks, and was young. It was only natural that she would attract enormous public attention. The news was that the A-rank hunter is a high school student, and she is actually an idol trainee. And they also said that she received an offer to scout her from America. Someone else asked whether government measures are necessary to prevent talent drain. When a lady was interviewed and asked what it was like to become an orange someone, she replied that it just felt like it had happened. That's what it should have been. Her friend, who was working in a store, watched this video and understood that Shin Na Young got everything right into her hands. But it was not like that at all for her. At this time, the director turns to Miss Romy and asks if she was acquainted with the hunter Shin Na Young and why she remained silent and kept this a secret. The man claims that good connections are, it's great, and she could brag a little. He also claims that if there is time, it would be nice to make a joint program, because it would be good for them and the studio would be pleased. But at that moment, Romy loses control and turns to leave. The director asks her to wait a minute and where she's going, but she replies that she's not feeling well. She also claims that the pre-production work is not finished yet, so she will lie down for a bit until then and then return. Nayeon is very interested in her, after which the woman replies that no, and it's all bullshit. Elements and also wishes them a good conversation. The main character, watching this, realizes that actress Romy and Na Young's sister were acquainted. She'd seen her on TV and was rumored to be a rising star. At the same moment, the baby hears something vibrating in her bag, and when she looks there, he understands that I have an egg and also wonders why it behaves this way. It started when they met the actress Romy. At this time, the young man turns to the little girl and asks if Na Young's sister is the hunter, and the girl replies that yes, and she just said that she is from the same industry. And then the guy asks if they were talking about hunters and not actors. He also wonders if the little girl is really a hunter too, and the girl, Pride, takes out her license, and the young man understands that this is it, that the conversation really did seem awkward to him, and plus, she so calmly used objects that clearly belonged to the awakened one. So the boy wonders why he didn't notice, and how embarrassing it is, after which he claims he's going to throw up. The main character immediately grabs his hand and cries out that he needs to go to the bathroom quickly, but he replies that everything is fine. The little girl turns to her sister Na Young and says that they will go to the toilet and will be back soon. They agree to something, and the girl asks where the toilet is, to which the boy replies that it is right down the hall, after which they head there. Romy slams her hands on the table and screams Shin Na Young's name. She wonders why the girl appeared now, and why in front of director Hwang Woong-chol. After all, she'd been waiting for this day and this chance so long. Romy thinks the girl has probably come back to ruin everything, and that her friend is taking everything she's trying to get. Then, the woman looks at her phone and realizes there's still one more option. She also grabs her phone and writes to the teacher that this girl came to the set and also asks what she should do and asks for help. The woman waits for an answer with tears in her eyes. The teacher replies that it's an unfortunate coincidence and asks if she needs help, to which the woman replies, yes, and the teacher asks how he can help her. The teacher claims that she already said earlier that there is always a way and the girl is not yet mature, but she can lend her strength for a while. Romy wonders what she can do if the teacher lends her strength, but something replies that the girl will be able to do whatever she wants. For example, to make it so that that child never appears in front of her again, and the lady at the same moment screams that she wants to do this, and also asks the teacher to lend her power. After which, a message in an unknown language and a confirmation button appear before her. The teacher claims the girl has suffered greatly at the hands of this child, and now it's her turn to inflict pain. She doesn't know if the girl can do it, but she answers that she can do anything, and she believes the teacher. After which, she presses the confirm button, and at that very moment, everything starts to swim before her eyes, and the girl thinks, what just happened? At this point, one of the employees approaches Miss Romy and asks if she has a minute. After all, Hunter Shin Na Young, she said she wanted to talk. Afterwards, the girl enters the room, and her interlocutor becomes angry. Na Young tells Romy that she didn't expect to see her there, and that she'd come to her agency several times, but was always told she was busy. The girl also tells her friend to rest at least a little because she is already weak. But at the same moment, the girl hears the teacher's words that now it is her turn to cause pain, and she can do whatever she wants and as much as she wants. The blonde claims that she hopes the girl didn't come to brazenly look at her, and replies that she's there because of her dear little sister. They say that she and Uju met at an amusement park and became friends, and it's amazing how they managed to meet. Romy realizes that this girl is still as tactless as ever, or that she simply doesn't need to pay attention to things like this. She's really going to puke. The woman asks if she's really saying she has someone like that, the lady who only knows how to throw. Nayeon Romy is interested in what this is about, because she also values many people, and she does too. Romy insists that the girl still lacks tact, and if she valued her so much, why did she give up on their dream? The woman also asks if her friend ever wondered why she abandoned her singing career and became an actress. It's because the lady left them saying she would become a hunter, and their debut group disbanded. So did the girl really think that after that she would want to date her? Romy asks if the girl came to the agency and was busy. She then suggests they speculate, out of the blue, about what she was doing. When Na Young was shining as a hunter, she worked part-time after the disbandment of her debut group. So, what could an idol who hasn't even debuted be so busy with? And she wasn't busy, but simply didn't want to date her. And if the girl had thought about it at least a little, she would have understood. After which, she keeps pushing Na Young, but claims that she didn't even think that it would happen like this. After which, her interlocutor claims that it seems that even with such success, she has not developed tact. The girl immediately bows and asks for forgiveness, but Romy asks if she knows why she was nicknamed Jang Na Young in middle school. But that meant an easy life without worries. The lady had no worries about grades, no family problems, no worries about the future, and she was always only happy. Now you can suffer. After which, Romy says that the girl was annoying because she was Jang Na-young. She didn't even know that she was poisoned. So she carried around with her, that is, the cheese that irritated Jang Na-young. The girl recalls how the two of them were sitting together after practice. One of them insisted that the song was really good, and it would be great if their debut song was like this. Another one asked if it was impossible to ask for something. It's similar, but her interlocutor is interested in whether she will think of something that is possible from newcomers from a small agency like them. Well, when her interlocutor laughed, Romy asked what was wrong and why she was laughing, and the girl claimed that she liked it when people called her Jang Na-young. The blonde asked why, and the girl replied that it was because they were the only ones who called each other by nicknames, and that made them seem like the closest of friends. After this, people with light hair said that if she liked it that way, she would continue to call her that. Now, Shin Na-young is wondering if Romy also called her in that sense, to which the girl replies that yes, because she never liked her either. The woman activates the skill Black Leaf in the mouth, because then the enemy falls into a state of critical weakening, and Na-yeon understands that she cannot move, and her mother is running away somewhere. Well, at that very moment, Romy comes to her senses and asks what it is. Well, the voice in her head claims that her friend has a great body, after which the girl asks if it is really the teacher. Well, at that very moment, she loses control over her body, after which he starts grinning. Well, now there is a teacher in the lady's body, and the woman says that this means she is that same Na-young. But she has heard a lot about her. Na-yeon understands that it's not Romy at all. Or maybe someone is controlling her. Control is very high-level skills, and she had never heard of a skill that could control a person, let alone a rat or an insect. The woman claims that the world is still full of secrets and mysteries and asks if it is true that attacks, but exploring the unknown is always so exciting. In the dictionary, the heart is always easy to penetrate, and it was very difficult for the child because of her. After which, the woman asks what they should do now, and then states that everything is decided and they will go together. She's just giving a gift to her student and will give her a chance to learn something. Na-yeon. She understands that her body is not obeying her, and she feels as if this body does not belong to her. But if this continues, she and Romy will not be able to get out of control and will be in danger. At this time, the main character sees an urgent quest from the Guardian, which states that she needs to save Shin Na-young from danger. The reward is 1,000 points of care. The main character wonders if this is really a difficult Guardian quest, after which she is shocked and wonders if Na-young is in danger. She has already seen this quest when Kadan was in danger, and if she had not been there then, he would have fallen into eternal sleep. The girl understands that she needs to go immediately, after which she turns to Uju and asks if he will be able to be alone, since she will not be gone for a long time alone. The boy asks where she's going, and the girl replies that she has some business there. The main character immediately runs and wonders where Na-young is, but at that very moment, the egg in her bag begins to feast, and when the lady takes it out, then it starts glowing, and then it even shows the way with its aura. Gru wonders if the baby is really showing her the way. He hasn't even been born yet, but he's already helping his mother, so baby Gru is a good child. Then the girl realizes that she needs to go, and climbs into the ventilation. When the lady looks out of one of the hatches, she realizes that the light has stopped there. One of the women says that the world is still full of secrets and mysteries, and the little girl understands that it is Na-young. She receives a notification that the pollution becomes visible thanks to Mephisto, and then the main character sees the dirt that prevents Na-young from moving. The girl thinks where she came from, after which she sees the phone in Romy's hands and understands that if she gets rid of this phone, her sister will be able to move. But Na-young is an A-rank hunter and ranks 9th in the rankings. So it means that you can trust her, and she will do a great job. The girl also imagines herself descending and drinking the phone from Na-young's hands, after which the dirt falls off, and she says how great Gru is. And yet, it's all thanks to her, and after all, the girl is the strongest and coolest. The main character understands that this is it, and is about to jump from the ventilation, but suddenly wonders if she will be able to do it, since it is quite high up there. After After which, the little girl imagines herself falling and realizes she might not succeed. At that very moment, one of the women says it's decided and they'll go together. The main character realizes the phone is drifting away from the ventilation shaft. The girl also thinks there's no time to wait anymore and that she can, since she had fire drills in kindergarten. After which, people understand that they need to move forward, like in that famous scene from the drama she saw on TV. The baby immediately jumps down, and the duck drinks the phone from Romi's hands, after which it rolls under the bed, and Na Young is shocked and wonders if it could really be Gru. The main character, smiling, says she succeeded. The girl realizes her aim is good, as expected from a C-class character. Apart from magic, all her stats are still at 1, but now is not the time for that. The girl turns to her sister. The price of dirt still does not let her go. And then the egg points to the phone, and the little girl realizes that she sees this light again. The main character sees that he is pointing at the phone, after which dirt is flowing out, after which she completely grabs Romy, and the little girl understands that she needs to break the phone. But at that very moment, Romy understands her intentions and immediately runs after the baby, managing to grab her at the last moment. The woman says what an idiotic brat she is. Nayeon can't bear to watch and tries to break free from the spell. But then she remembers her friend's words about how she always hated her. The girl realizes that these words made her heart clench with pain, and she felt unbearably ashamed. She also thinks about what her friend felt when she congratulated her on waking up, and she didn't even want to know about it. The dreams they had ever strived for were easily discarded, and she always tried her best and quickly gave up on what she could not achieve. Easy, albeit stupid, simple, or without complications. That's what Shin Na-young is. The girl understands that it is entirely her fault that Romy has changed, so Gru has nothing to do with it. She will not allow Romy, who is under control, to harm her. She will not allow the baby to suffer under any circumstances. This cannot be allowed. At that moment, the woman breaks free from the spell and cries out to Romy. Lady realizes that her life has been like mindlessly turning doorknobs. If the door opened, she went inside, and if not, she went away. But she realized that there are situations when you can no longer turn around and leave. And for the first time, she felt the desire to break through, no matter what the cost. Even if it meant knocking countless times, it was a desire. At this point, the lady receives a notification that she heroically overcame a threat far beyond her own level. Afterwards, she unlocked the Knock on the Divine Door achievement. Upon detecting a caster's strong desire, she gains high resistance to any damage, and all stats are increased by 30%. As magic resistance recovers, the debuff is removed, after which the girl grabs Romy's hand. She activates the Silver Laza skill, and the eyes change according to the will of the caster. And when the target is bound by the vine, its magic is temporarily blocked. Nayeon does this. Her interlocutor says that it's such a shame and that it means she has a rare skill for blocking magic. The girl replies that her magic must be blocked, after which she asks how she moves. At this time, the main character turns to her sister and says that the whole problem is in the phone because something dark is crawling out of there. The woman in shock asks if she can really see it, but at that very moment, Na-young tells the girl to leave Gru alone. Her interlocutor says how sad it is that they have to part so quickly, but she wanted to know so much, and she hopes that they will see each other again. After which, Na-young breaks the phone, and Romy falls unconscious, after which the girl grabs her. A few seconds later, Romy comes to her senses and sees Na-young in front of her, after which she asks why she is with her. Na-young says, "What a joy!" A little while later, the girl asks if it was a mind control and wonders what it means. Her interlocutor wonders if she doesn't even remember the one who controlled her. Romy replies that she doesn't remember and doesn't understand at all what the girl is talking about, because was she really controlled? And what kind of debuff is this? The blonde realizes that she only remembers that she got angry when Na-young came to the set and said nasty things to her. Romy wonders if her interlocutor is now taking revenge on her for hurting her feelings. Na-yeon-hee replies, no, after which an awkward silence falls between them. The brunette decides to break it and apologizes to Romy. Her interlocutor asks if she is really apologizing now, after which she thinks if the girl is really an idiot, it would be better if she got angry with her, because it was exactly the same back then. Romy thinks, why cling to an idle trainee who won't debut anyway? And it would be better if she got angry. Nayeonshi claims that she herself was not herself after waking up, and as soon as she left the center of the awakened, reporters pounced on her, and they even set up camp near her house. Everyone asked which guild the girl was going to join, and said that because of her rare skill, even people from America tried to recruit her. People passing by asked if this was the same schoolgirl who woke up as an A rank. But she is a winner in life. Reporters said that the lady would become a hunter in the future and asked what her thoughts were on the matter. Well, the girl was in a stupor and didn't even know what to answer. Now she claims that it seemed to her that her becoming a hunter was a predetermined fact, and she thought that Romy naturally thought the same. But they still needed to find time to have a heart-to-heart talk. The blonde said that they had enough of all this. Nayeon puts his hand on hers and claims that she is not very smart and easily forgets everything, but now she remembered something. Her interlocutor asks what she remembered. The girl replies that she remembered her nickname on social networks. But if her words were true, she would not have chosen such a nickname, and what she said before was not completely sincere. After which, the girl apologizes for being so tactless and stupid, and also for not being there in difficult times. After this, Romy was told that the girl should just go out, because she wants to rest a little, agrees to something, and then goes out. Well, when she is about to close the door, she tells Romy that her number has not changed, and if she remembers anything about today, or even if there is no business, then she can call at any time. After all, she'll wait, after which the girl closes the door. Romy logs into her Instagram page and looks at her username. The girl also remembers how, a little while ago, some girls from school were talking among themselves, and one of them said that Jung Na-young still irritates her today, and the other also called the girl names. Romy couldn't listen to this, after which she immediately opened the door and screamed at them. She claimed that the adjective Jang vi Jang Na-young meant that Na-young cool, so let them stop distorting words because King Sejong will turn over in his grave. So one of the ladies asked what she was talking about and whether King Sejong had coined the word chan, and whether Lee Romy was so ignorant. Another girl insisted that in their time, even idols were expected to be smart. The woman screamed that no matter what, Jung Na-young is Romy's best friend, and she will always call her cool, and they will too. Well, one of the ladies claimed that it was funny, and asked if the girl was really in elementary school. And the other told the girl not to pretend to be a good note and screamed that nothing of the sort. Now, she looks at her account with tears in her eyes and understands that as well as she knows Na-young, so well she knows her, and what was sincere and what wasn't. At some point, a woman walks down the street. She deletes the sentences and says what a pity this is, because this child was so promising and she could have become her favorite student. The woman also remembers the little girl about whom she reported that something black was coming out of the phone. And now the woman, with a smile on her face, says that she is interested in how the little girl figured it out. It seems that the fact that she initially targeted the phone was not a coincidence. But perhaps she saw that it was the infected carrier. Such a small child has such an ability. But she looked like she was 3 or 4 years old. The woman says that it is simply amazing. But she thought that only Zhenya would be able to feel her and, as expected, it is fun in Korea. She doesn't regret her impulsive decision to come to Korea at all, because so many interesting things have happened there. The country that destroyed the tower, or better yet, the country of the person who owns the guild. A woman understands that perfectly made things become even more beautiful when they break, and that destruction is always so pleasant. It would be nice if she had the chance to meet this child again, and she wondered what Zhenya was doing now because she wanted to see him as soon as possible. A short time later, Nat Young bursts into the room and addresses Gru. She claims that her sister is so exhausted with those reporters that she asks Gru to recharge her. At that moment, Kadan approaches them with a camera and asks who they have there and if it's really the awakened Class 6C, Miss Shin Na-young. He also asks them to look into the camera and say hello. The woman asks what he is filming, and the guy replies that the PR department told him to film it. He turns the camera so that he too is offended and asks if they know Shin Na-young and if they know the Hunok Guild, and also whether it is true that they exterminate everyone below Class C there. The woman hears this, sighs, and says how childish this is. But at that moment, she sees that the little girl is looking at an article on the internet. The main character smiles while reading all these articles, and her interlocutor turns to the girl in surprise and wonders if she really has an internet addiction. Hee-ju Rim approaches the little girl and takes the phone from her, saying that she should stop sitting on it. The girl gets a little angry about this, after which she turns to the head of the guild and claims that she has something that she wanted to ask him. The man asks what it is, and the lady asks where babies come from, and everyone is shocked. Gru asks if they know how babies are made, and Onjurim realizes maybe he should just say he doesn't know. Well then, given the baby's incredible abilities in using electronic devices, she could gain strange knowledge from strange places to answer him himself. But then the man wonders what to say and maybe searches a forum for mothers. Meanwhile, the little girl turns to her brother Kadan and replies that he's underage and doesn't know. The girl then turns to her sister Na-young and asks if she knows where babies come from. The woman, smiling, replies that of course she knows, and Onju Rim asks if Shin Na-young can be trusted. Kadan replies that he heard Na-young's sister has 5 nephews, and they must have some kind of know-how. After which, the woman claims she'll now tell you how children are made. She then begins her story. A man and a woman are in bed, and Kadan immediately screams. He covers Na-young's mouth and screams that she shouldn't say such things. Onju Rim sighs heavily and realizes that this is making him dizzy. A little while later, the three are already sitting on the sofa, and the baby still thinks about how children are born. She also understands that she was just curious about where they come from, but at the same moment, the girl sees a notification in front of her that with the help of care points, she can speed up hatching, and it asks if she wants to use them. People understand that you just have to think about it, because with the help of care points, you can speed up the hatching, and this is not an easy egg. But she earned a lot of care points thanks to her sister Na-young, after which the girl clicks on Use. She receives a notification that she 30% ready to hatch. At that moment, the department manager enters the room and addresses the guild leader, asking why neither Kadan nor the group leaders are visible, as people are looking for them. Well, then he wonders why they are all there, and Kadan immediately turns to the head of the department and tells him to go there. The man asks what happened, after which the guy told him to sit down. The head of the candy, with a smile on his face, turns to the little girl and says that the head of the department, Yoon, will tell her everything. The girl turns to the manager and then asks where children come from. But the man does not seem confused by this question, because he is an experienced father of 2 children, after which he makes his statement. The stork brings the children, and the little girl asks if that is really true, after which the man claims that the stork is so big that he can carry children, and he asks if the girl wants to see what he looks like. The main character replies that of course she wants to, after which the man shows her a picture on his phone, and the girl says that it's cool, while Kadan and Onju Rim watch this with a smile.